Yes, I'm going to say that again. As we begin, I want to be sure you have something to write with, because it's going to, at some point, there's going to be some activity, and not just writing on your piece of paper. There are some activities that I'll need you to respond in the comment section, or just tell me what write your responses in the comment section for some of the activities. But for most of it, we will be ready to just roll together. So get your writing materials, get ready, and it's going to be indeed a very, very great time together. Please confirm if you can see my screen. Just let me know if you are seeing my screen, and tell me what you are seeing. Are you seeing just the screen, or are you seeing everything with my notes?
I see just a blank screen.
Just a blank screen. Is it blank or just the title? Are you not seeing anything at all?
White.
Looks like a white line.
White line.
Oh, really?
Horizontal white line.
Oh, just a blank screen. Okay. That's okay. Don't worry. I'm going to sort that out now.
Seat covers.
Okay. So let's go again, and then tell me what you see now. How about now?
Preparing to work on what?
Yes.
Yeah, we can see your screen now.
Fantastic. Yes, then we're ready to roll then. All right. Welcome everybody, and good to have you on this call today. You are here because there's an expectation. You're expecting, okay, the year is about to end. We're about to start the new year. And this is that period where everybody is setting goals, writing, what am I going to do in the next year? You may not be writing, but this is where you're thinking and you're planning. What's this 2025 going to look like? How are we going to run this next year? How is it going to be for most of us? Some of you come from backgrounds where you're already used to writing your notes, you're rather writing your goals, putting things down. And so the whole idea of this call today is to help you in doing that in a different way, in a slightly different way, so that you're not just writing goals. Many of us have written goals for many years and nothing much has changed. We've been writing, and there's no difference. I mean, sometimes we write those goals, by the second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, we look at them and like, okay, I'll just do carry over. Maybe some of these ones, maybe next year they're going to work. But hopefully we would address some of the reasons why those things don't happen. And particularly for those of us who, that you've been living life at I don't want to say a small level, but at you're not, this is not the life that you want to live fully. There is more. And this next year, you're telling yourself, next year, I want to attempt big things. I want to set audacious goals. I want to set great goals that will push me, that will stretch me. Fantastic. Then you're in the right place. For those who are just joining the PGA, joining Level Up, joining Exponential Growth, this is your induction into the family. So we are going to start, and we're going to help to answer all of those questions on your mind. Please just follow me. We're going on a journey. At some point, we're going to get active and we'll do activities. I want to start by asking you a question. Very simple question. I want your responses in the comment section. And the question is on the screen. What is the most powerful weapon ever created? Who knows? What's the most powerful, the deadliest, the most dangerous weapon that was ever created? Let me know in the comment section. You can write it down, and if you know, and if you don't know, you can guess. You can throw a wild guess. What do you think is the most deadly, the most dangerous weapon ever created? Okay, let's see. Someone says the atomic bomb. I like that. That is somebody says poisons. What says the mind, word or mind. So the human mind, the atomic bomb. Well, now I'm confused. Is it the mind or is it a bomb? Which of these is the most dangerous of all? Yes, I'm keep getting. Okay, I'm guessing it's the mind and love. Okay. Well, good guesses. Oh, someone says time, the tongue, electricity. Okay, interesting. Well, I thought about this question and I began to ask myself, how do you even measure the most dangerous or the deadliest weapon ever created? And I asked myself, who is the most powerful person that exists? Who is the most powerful being in the world? That's supposed to be a simple answer. Who is the most powerful being that exists? You can just speak, or you come in. Don't be afraid to unmute yourself and just talk. It's faster. Okay. Somebody says Elon Musk. Elon Musk is the most powerful being in the world. Yay. Who is this? James. Someone says man. Someone says God. Okay. Man, God. Okay, God. Okay, God. Well, I think that's a very simple question that doesn't need too much of a debate. We all agree, we all know that there is something more powerful than us, than man. God, in his infinite power, in his infinite strength, whenever God wants to do something, whenever God wants to accomplish something, what's the weapon that he uses? What's the tool? What did God create as his weapon of accomplishing great stuff in the world? It's man. I mean, that's the basic answer. Because man, I mean, it's there in the comment section. Man. Whatever God wants to do in the world, what God depends on is a man. Anytime God has an idea and God wants to execute this idea, God does not come to the earth to do things by himself anymore. God doesn't come to the earth to run shows by himself. He doesn't come to the earth to fix things. Whenever something is faulty on earth and God wants it fixed, do you know who God runs to? God resorts to a man and says, who can I use? Who can help me execute this thing I want to execute on the earth? So man is that weapon that God has created and has put all of his power, all of his strength, all of his abilities in. So man is so powerful that God depends on man to get things done on earth. Now, I know we're calling man, like if man is a third party and independent being. I want you to put yourself in the shoes. The most powerful weapon ever created on the earth is you. You have the ability and the power. I mean, look at Genesis when God says, and God had finished all of creation and he said, let's make man. And he made man. And he says, he gave man dominion. He says, I mean, you see this entire creation I've made? You are in charge. Have dominion, subdue, control, replenish, whatever you want to do, you are in charge. All the forces of nature are subject to you. All the forces of creation, everything I have made are in the palm of your hands. You have the control. Now, it's important I'm trying to lay this foundation because many times we don't see ourselves the way God sees us. We don't see ourselves as the carriers and containers of that much endowment and endorsement and power and strength and abilities. We just see ourselves as, maybe I'm just passing by this earth. Maybe I'm just running around. Maybe I'm just here for... No, you're not just passing by the earth. You're not just checking around. You're not just passing and saying, well, let's see what's happening. No, you actually are a weapon. You actually are a tool. Whatever God wants to do, God depends on you. God has put the ability in you. And so, just like every man that God has used, whenever there is a problem of big magnitude, and God wants to solve it, God is like, I need somebody. I need one of my weapons. Which of my weapons is available? And which of my weapons is in good condition enough to be used for this task? Now, there are about 8 billion of us on the earth, and we're not done yet. I mean, from creation to now, billions of people have lived, billions more are still going to live, and God is doing stuff. There are ideas that God wants to see on the earth, and he's asking himself, in whose mind can I put this idea? And when God wants to do crazy stuff, things like, I think I've used the example before. Man should fly. Man is too slow. It takes man months to go from one end of the earth to another end of the earth. I need to give humanity speed. I need to put more speed in the human space such that people can go from one point of the earth to the other within hours. So man needs to be able to fly. And God is saying, in whose mind can I put the idea that man needs to fly so that they can execute this mission of man flying? Sometimes God feels frustrated because he's putting ideas in your head and you yourself are deleting the ideas, saying, God, no, this thing cannot work. So many times God needs to do things with us on the earth. And we ourselves are telling God, no, that thing you want to do is too big. or I am incapable of doing it. I am not the kind of person who does those kind of things. And we've seen precedents, we've seen people over time who do that. And many of us were like them. So are you like this guy? You know this guy Gideon in the Bible, Judges chapter 6. I'm not going to read the Bible, but I'm just going to make reference to that story. In the midst of a national crisis, God needed somebody who can help him to rescue an entire nation from crisis. And he saw somebody called Gideon. And as far as God is looking at, God is saying, look at this mighty warrior. Look at this guy, this national deliverer who can solve national problems. Look, there's a problem in Nigeria. There's a problem in Ghana. There's a problem in Kenya. There's a problem in South Africa. There's a problem in America. There's a problem in Europe. And I need someone to address this problem. And God is saying, see the guy there. The guy is on this call right now. The lady who can solve that, who should solve that problem, is on this call right now. And when God shows up and says, oh, thou Ekene, man of valor, oh, Stella, oh, Samuel, oh, Juliana. How many of you are like Gideon? I'm like, when God is saying man of valor, you're looking back and like, excuse me, are thou talking to me or are thou talkest to someone else behind me? Because we don't even see how much capacity God has put in us. And many of us, we walk through life just like Gideon. And we don't realize that there is deliverance that is in our hands. We don't realize that there's so much power, that there's so much dependence, that there's so much expectation from us. Sometimes we know what is possible, but we have stopped believing that what is possible is possible. Because Gideon, when the angel told him, oh, great man of valor, he said, Mike, man of valor. And when God told him, you are the one that is going to rescue your nation from these Midianites, Gideon says, me rescue care. Is there a God that can rescue anymore? We know that God used to be able to rescue before, but in this season and time, can he still rescue? So Gideon knew what was possible, but he had stopped believing about what's possible. He had stopped believing that it was still possible. Now, why am I saying this? I'm still in the foundation. We've not started working on water. We're going to go into the working on water proper in a few minutes. But I want to start by addressing many of you on this call right now. You have settled for a level of life that is subpar, that you know, is below standard of what you know is possible. But somehow circumstances have so colonized our thinking that we have asked ourselves, well, I used to think this was possible. I used to think life at this level was possible. I used to think that these ideas I had were possible. However, I think life has taught me enough lesson to stop believing. We're like Gideon. Or we're still like Gideon, who says, even if these things are possible, it's not people like me who does things like this. Gideon says, number one, my tribe is the smallest in Israel. In my father's house, in that small tribe, I am the smallest. Please, when you are looking for people who can carry big ideas, not people like me that you should be talking to, go and look for great guys. Go and look for other kind of people. Many of you on this call tonight, that's where you've put yourself. God is trying to put ideas in your mind. And when I say God here, it's not every time that God speaks to you with my son, oh thou, and using James. Sometimes all that God does, that God needs to speak to you, is to expose you to a problem, put a need in front of you that you just get angry at this need and you tell yourself this need needs to be solved. Or there's a passion, a burning passion in your heart, and you just know that this is a life that is possible, not just for me, but for a city, for a state, for a nation, for a generation. There is a passion you carry that is possible, that sometimes you knew this is supposed to be done, but somewhere along the line, you're telling yourself, I used to think this was good, this was doable, but maybe not anymore. Or you are telling yourself, even if it is doable, maybe not by people like me. God has given you an idea for a solution, for a product, or you have even built a product. And somewhere along the line, you are thinking that this product has the capacity to change the world. I see this product can actually become a global seller. This product can be on every shelf, in every mall, in every country in the world. But something is telling you, it is not people like me who create products that the world uses. People like me are consumers. Don't worry. This one I have created. Let us at least try and take over this city. If the city gets to know us, we have tried. or if our state, if we get accepted in our state, no problem. Or if at all we even become national celebrities, we have tried now. You don't see yourself as the kind of person who can put out ideas, who can put out resources, who can put out products, who can put out solutions that the world will need, that the world will troop to, that the world will pay for. You stop believing. You are the most powerful thing God made.
Keep quiet.
All the power in the world in your hands, all the power of creation, he put it in your hands. But somehow you have reduced yourself in your mind to a Gideon who is hiding to do the little thing. I mean, Gideon was working. Gideon was threshing corn, threshing wheat in a wine press. You have so hidden yourself, reduce yourself and say, well, if I can just find enough to eat, enough to drink, send my children to school, pay my house rent, probably build a house before I retire, I am good. Praise the Lord. You have reduced yourself to that level. And you are saying, at least we don't try. We don't try. No. That's where we need to start from tonight. You are more than that. You are like Gideon, who God sees a man of valor in. God sees a national deliverer in you. But you are seeing yourself as one local champion who will just get by life, do so. I mean, I'll do some stuff. So it's the new year, 2025, we're setting goals. But you are setting goals with such a small mind, just a small expectation that I say, well, let me just set goals enough to just take care of my family. If I can feed well, at least at all, we no go beg, we no go borrow. That is, no. That's where we need to start from tonight. We need to go beyond that. This workshop is called Preparing to Walk on Water. We are going to attempt to do the impossible in the coming year. And this is the preparation for that. If the impossible is going to happen next year, we need to get started from this point. You need to start seeing yourself as the kind of person who does the impossible. So let me start by asking you a simple question. This is a warm-up activity, and I'm going to need your pens at this point. You need your writing materials. 3 questions or 4 questions on the screen. What's the most audacious goal you've ever set for yourself? As in, what's the craziest thing you've ever attempted to do or you've ever done with your life? Now, you're going to put some of them on the screen, but this is not even about response. Now, this is not about me. This is about you. This is about getting yourself to think about how much you've reduced yourself or how much you used to dream and how much you have lowered the size of your dreams. So I want you to write it down, really. I want you to write it down. This is not a question that you just think and say, I'm listening. If you don't have a pen and a paper, you joined wrongly. You're supposed to be in this call with a pen and a book, not even a paper. Don't tear paper. Don't get plain sheets. Get a notebook. Get a notebook so that you can reference these things. What is the most audacious goal you've ever set for yourself? What is the biggest thing? What is the craziest dream you've ever had? What is your wildest imagination? Have you ever thought that this thing I am making should be on in every supermarket in every country in the world? Have you ever imagined that your brand, your product should be on a billboard in Tokyo, Japan, as it's on a billboard in London, yet you are in Accra, Ghana, or you are in Lagos, Nigeria, and your products are being shown on commercial TV, on CNN, on BBC? Have you ever imagined that? Have you ever dreamed that wild? Or have you ever seen yourself on the cover of Forbes magazine or Time magazine, and they're talking about an invention that you made or an article that you wrote or a discovery that you championed? What is the craziest thing you've ever dreamed? What is your wildest thought right now? What's the wildest imagination of you? I want you to write it down. If you've never thought about something crazy, then there's something we need to unlock in your mind tonight. I'm pausing because I want you to write. This is not, remember I said this is not a webinar. This is a workshop. This is an activity. This is something we're going to do together. What's the biggest thing you want to do over the next 5 years? Now, if you want to share, if you have something and you want to put on the comment section, please go ahead. I mean, I would love to see some of those wild imaginations. It may not be something you have done, but what are some of the craziest things you have imagined? Have you imagined that the business you run is running franchises in 35 countries? Have you pictured that you are doing so great at a scale that your name becomes a household name, that you are recognizable by first name? You know, there's what they call first name recognizability. That's a level of fame you've achieved that when they call your first name, people know this is the person they're talking about. Have you imagined what possibilities have you dreamed of? What's the imagination of your mind? Now, I want someone to drop it on the chat, on the comment section. Just put some of them there. Let's know, so that some person need to be inspired. Some person need to also realize that you're not mad, you're not crazy. If you're dreaming crazy dreams, it's in order. Because if your mind has the capacity to receive it, it means that in you, there is a seed and a DNA that is capable of bringing it to life. Your mind will not capture what you have not, God has not resourced you to be able to bring to life. So yes, anybody, you can put them in the section, but I want you to take some time and think, what is that crazy thing? What is that big dream that you have imagined? If you have imagined it, it means that in you, the capacity to get it done is there. Even if you have not done it yet, that you run a school and you've asked yourself, and you've imagined one day that your school is probably being franchised in the major cities of the world, it means that in you, there's something capable of making it happen. If you imagine that you're going to write a book that is going to be used across the world, someone says, to make teleportation possible, eliminating the need for most other transportation system. Somewhere, somehow, everything that we do today was once thought impossible. When some crazy young man says men should be able to fly, there was a generation that says man cannot fly. But today, flying is tradition, it's commonplace. Everybody flies. Someone says Signless Plus will become a household name. Now, we don't know that name today, but if you imagine that whatever it is you're doing at Signless Plus will become a household name. Someone says, my crazy idea is a trust identification system. Now, I don't know what that is. We don't know much what all that is there, but somewhere, somehow, you have imagined something huge. Someone says, owning the biggest livestock farm in Africa. Now, this may sound crazy. I mean, if your dream does not make people think that you are mad, then it is not crazy enough, really. It's not crazy. It's a normal dream. It's a normal dream. You see, if walking on water was normal, we won't celebrate Peter for walking on water. No, we won't. It was just going to be, it would have been a normal thing. But you see, sometimes the boldest actions come in the moment of most uncertainty. In fact, you see, think of that scenario where Peter walked on water. They were on the boat, and then they saw what they thought was a ghost coming towards them. And then it was Jesus. And at that point, they were terrified. They were afraid to death. Now, look at the irony here. That one of the biggest miracles we reference today happened in the midst and in the presence of the greatest fear that these men were experiencing. In the midst of fear, and we're thinking, our own don't finish. That was the moment a big miracle was about to happen. So yes, the reason I'm asking you to write is because there's a power in writing. There's something that writing does to you. So yes, write it down, put it out there. I've imagined setting up the greatest tech hub across the earth in Nigeria and with the brains on the planet working in Nigeria. Fantastic. Creating a world-class design agency that serves solution to the world. Fantastic. World-class, that the whole world is getting resources from you, being a voice in a global stage in design solutions and the things I do. So you've seen yourself standing on stages across the world where they are celebrating. You've seen people doing things. You've seen the likes of people like, let me call names that probably resonate with you. You've seen the likes of Vusi Tembekwayo climbing on stages, and something tells you, I can be this guy. And you've seen people standing on stages and then they're getting all the accolades, and something tells you, this can be me in this domain, in this space, in this place. It really, really can be you. These are the dreams that I want to start thinking about. I want to resurrect some of those dreams. You taught them 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and they've died. Someone says, invent wireless electricity. Why must electricity travel through wire? If Wi-Fi can go without wire, why can't electricity go without wire? That's somebody's thinking. And today it sounds impossible. It's like, well. When network started, network was going through wire. And today there's network without wire. Why can't electricity go through wire? Somebody wants to say singing at the Olympics opening ceremony. I mean, you see, dream first. These things that sound crazy, somewhere in our minds, we have killed those ideas. We have classified them as impossible. Now, let's go forward. I hope that everything you've written here, you've put them in your notebook because we're going to reference them. Now, understand that those things you talked about, they cannot happen by accident. There's no accidental greatness. There's no accidental, people don't just stumble into greatness and just say, oh, this lady, oh, see her, she's just, suddenly they invited her to the Olympics. The Lord just touched their heart and they say, oh, Sarah, come and sing at the Olympics opening ceremony. It's like we're expecting a big bang part 2. Some of us believe that the earth was created by a bang. I mean, just thunder and lightning and atoms and some things just came and then, no. Accidental greatness is not going to happen. Those things that you're imagining, whether they are that far or they are even practical things that are close by but are looking impossible from where you sit, they're not going to happen by accident. You might be just thinking, I mean, for some of you, you didn't write your dreams because you felt they are not wild enough, they are not crazy enough, but you wrote them in your books. Maybe it's just to think of, you're just thinking, my own dream, let me just send my kids to study abroad. Let me just get my children to get to Harvard. Or you are even a young person on this call, and you're thinking to yourself, my own, let me just get that scholarship. Let me just get that grant. Let me just get that investment. It may not look crazy to some other people, but for you, it is crazy enough. As crazy as it is, whether mild or wild, it's not going to happen by luck. It's not going to happen by favor. Favor is good. And so I don't want to burst religious bubbles, but you see, that thing called favor is like palliative. It's like palliative. It's not the answer we need. It's a temporary solution. So in a group of 50 people, in a church of 100 people, 2 persons get special favor. You are in a queue, 50 of you are in a queue, and they come and say, yes, we like you, and they give you a job. That's favor. What about the other 49? What about the other 200 people that did not get that favor? So favor is good, but we need to be thinking systems and wisdom. We need to be thinking, what are the principles that make these things possible for anybody to achieve? So if greatness only comes by favor, that means there's no chance. We don't stand it. Some of us don't have a chance, but there is a way around this. So today I'm going to share with you 3 steps on your journey from where you are to that crazy, that wild dream, that wild imagination that you have. Now, don't lose sight of it yet. We're still going to come back. I'm going to show you how to write some goals for 2025 that will actually require you to push yourself. But before we get there, there are 3 bus stops, and I don't know why I like using the word bus stops, but there are 3 bus stops to greatness. There are 3 bus stops on your journey to achieving the impossible. On your journey to walking on water, there are 3 junctions that you will have to pass. The first bus stop is conceiving. You accepting the idea or receiving the idea, for not even accepting, conceiving the idea of what needs to be done or what is possible. So all of the things that you wrote in the chat box that I wrote in your book, somewhere along the line, the idea first dropped into your mind. There was a conceiving. I don't know what you saw. I don't know what you heard. I don't know what experience you had that made you think electricity should be wireless. But that made you think I should run the biggest farm on the continent. Or that made you think I should write a book that the entire nation will use. Or I should sing on the biggest stages on the world. I should speak on the biggest stages of the world. Something made you say this needs to be done. Now that's the first step. Because what you don't conceive can never happen. You can never get to that point. So conceiving is the first step. When the idea comes into your mind, this is where your mind receives the idea of great things. This is where your mind says, this thing should be possible. The next step is accepting that this can be done and this should be done. And that it can be done by you. Because many times, great thoughts and great ideas come to our mind, if not all of us, most of us. But many of us never come to terms with the fact that this thing we're thinking is a possibility. So from the time the idea comes, we kill it. We just dump it. We're like, no. This cannot happen. This is not going to happen. So the ideas have come to your mind, but you have dead on arrival it. If you understand what that means. You are like Gideon. Gideon says, in fact, thank God that the angel did not accept did not just leave Gideon where he was. When Gideon said, me here, it's not people like me. Or when the angel needs to do some of us like Zachariah. Because Zachariah was going to use it just when they say me here. Well, I mean, sometimes God is dropping seeds of greatness, seeds of ideas in your mind. And your mind is just not being able to receive it. But that's the first step, the ability to receive. Second is the ability to accept and say, this thing can be done. Not only can it be done, it should be done. Not only should it be done, it should be done by me. That's now, it's a major journey between these two boxes, between these two bus stops. Between conceiving and accepting is major, big time. And then between accepting that it should be done and then getting to let's do it, that gully between number 2 and number 3 is where many ideas die. You know this is possible. In fact, you have written it down as one day I will do X, Y, Z. But you never get to the point of saying, let's do it. That's the third bus stop. So how do these things work? I'm going to walk you through the 3 of them. So the first goal of this is to help you identify, where am I in these 3 bus stops? Am I still at the point where I'm even trying to get to terms with what is possible? Or am I at the point where I'm struggling with accepting what God says is possible? The ideas that God is putting in my mind. Now, I keep referencing God in this whole matter because I don't think that the imaginations of our hearts are just wild, are just accidental. Psalm 37 verse 5 says, delight yourself in the Lord and he will give you the desires of your heart. I believe that when you delight yourself in the Lord, God begins to put ideas in your heart. That's why for me, I don't joke with the desires that come into my heart. When I begin to want to do something and I begin to desire something, all I ask myself is, was I thinking right? Was I delighting in God when this idea came? Was I thinking about God when I began to think about this? If I was delighting myself in the Lord, doing what God wants me to do, in his presence, maybe it's worshiping, whatever it is, and an idea comes to my mind, I know that idea is not the devil. God put it in my mind. I pursue it. And the Bible says the steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. So I begin to take steps. So as I take steps, they begin to come into fruition. That's number 1. Are you at the stage where you're trying to even receive? You're trying to accept. Many of these ideas don't come in visions. They don't come in dreams. They just come as flash seconds. So how do you even begin to conceive greatness? Maybe we should start by that. That's the first step to walking on water. If you're thinking, I want to attempt to do the impossible, this coming year, I want to be able to do impossible things. I want to be able to do audacious things. I want to do mind-blowing things. The first step is that you have to be able to conceive what is possible. You have to be able to conceive greatness. And for some of us on this call, this is the biggest challenge. The biggest challenge is that you no longer have the capacity to dream big. You have a difficult time thinking big thoughts. Life has programmed you to think small, and you just want a humble life. So when we ask you, what do you want out of life? You just shrink yourself into one humble pie and say, you know what? I'm not trying to be famous. I'm trying to be big. I mean, I'm not asking for too much. Excuse me, you're not asking for too much. So who should do all the things that God wants to do on the earth? All of God's big ideas and big things for the world, who should execute them? No, me, I'm not among of them. I just want to, pay my rent, send my kids to good school. I'm not owing my landlord. I can drive a comfortable car and nobody's harassing my life. No. If you are in that school of thoughts, you need to start repenting now. We need to start the change. Anyway, that's the first step. If you cannot conceive greatness, you cannot become great. If you cannot think big thoughts, you cannot do big stuff. If you cannot imagine crazy things, you cannot do crazy things. It simply means you are either a work in progress, meaning that's where we need to start our work from. Or maybe you have come to the wrong class. I don't believe that any of you have resigned to smallness, even if right now all that your mind is able to do is think smallness. Because you see, our mind, like I used to say, is a programmed instrument. Many times our mind has been colonized by our environment. Our mind has been taught to think in a particular way. The way we think, the way we see life is a function of what life has reduced us to. So you grew up around so much lack and need and smallness that when it's time to dream, all you are dreaming is what you have seen and what you have experienced. And it's not your fault. It's the programming of the mind. That's why for those of you who are just joining the PGA, Level Up or whatever, that's where we actually start from. If we cannot unlock your mind to greatness, it's impossible to help you achieve greatness. So when people discuss big things around you, you think they are proud because your mind is just thinking small things. When people call big money around, you're like, these people have become carnal, they are backsliding. How can they be talking about this kind of money? Because your mind has been programmed to just small things. You cannot set audacious goals. You can't set big goals. You run a business, but you can't imagine it going beyond one city, talk less of going beyond one country. When people say, oh, I want to take my business into another country, you can't even relate because your mind has been colonized to think smallness. Now here the work starts, guys. This is the first step. If you are going to walk on water in 2025, you must have the ability to conceive greatness. This is the first battle you must fight. The battle for space in your mind, to stretch your thinking, to stretch your imagination. You cannot do what you have not imagined. In fact, if the devil can succeed to win at this stage, he does not have to fight other battles, because that's why he comes to camp here first. If I can ensure you don't think it, I don't have to battle to stop you from doing it. Because once you have imagined it, the devil goes to wait for you at the next bus stop. Because he knows, I failed this one. No, let me go and see how else I can stop this person from being able to achieve this thing. So the first battle the devil fights is a battle for your mind. And how do you battle the programming of your mind? It's not something we can do on this call right now. So for those of you who have joined any of the coaching programs of 2025, that is what we're going to spend the first module doing, battling the mind. For those of you who have been in the PGA this whole last year, you know that we have addressed this matter over and over and over again. And I know that for some of you, the addressing we have addressed is like we were just scratching the surface, because the programming that needs to be pre-programmed, 1 year could not unprogram it. Of course, it's sometimes difficult to reprogram in 1 year what took 30 years to program. So the mindset you use 30 years to acquire, we're trying to undo it in 1 year. So for many of you, and I love the fact that many people in the PGA have opted the formula and says, can I repeat PGA? Because the things that has happened this year, I need them to happen again. So there are a couple of who are repeating PGA, and I'm proud of people like that who have said, I need to take this entire journey a second time. I can guarantee you, even when you are hearing the same things, they won't sound like the same things anymore, because you are hearing them from a different level. But yes, so if you are in that class and you want to repeat PGA, please talk to us so that we can help you find a way to repeat PGA at a very, very easy way. But you see, that is the first battle that you need to fight. How do you program the mind? For those who are not in the PGA, you're thinking, for this mind game, yes, I'm having difficulty thinking great things. I'm having difficulty conceiving greatness. I'm going to share 2 things with you that can help you. 2 tips that can help you to conceive greatness. Number 1, understand that your mind picks ideas from what you see. So identify the kind of environments that are actually making you think the way you think, and deliberately begin to put yourself out of those environments. Or the other side, which is easier, identify the kind of environments that inspire you, the kind of places where you are in and you think your best thoughts. See, the power of environment cannot be understated. Cannot be overstated. I mean, what your environment does, there are times we want to think and we change the environment just because we want to think. See, if you are writing goals, if you are thinking, doing mental work in the midst of darkness and heat, there's no light, there's no fan, there's no AC, and you are sweating and the place is dark, I can guarantee you that thinking cannot make sense. That environment is wired to make you think small. That environment is wired to condition your mind, because your mind actually can take signals from your environment. So try it out. Do something in such an environment, and then go to a place, maybe go to a hotel room or go to the hotel lobby where you're seeing the lights are beautiful, the air conditioning is working, the environment is good, there are nice artwork. I can promise you the quality of ideas you will generate in those 2 environments cannot be the same. That is the power of environment. So for some of you, you will need to start going to places where you see things that challenge you deliberately. It is not pride. People who don't know this trick will not understand. They'll say, hey, what are you looking for there? See, this is something we do. We understand this hack. My wife and I, we have practiced this over time. Sometimes we leave our house, go to the best hotel in our city, lodge there for 3 days just to think and plan. When we come back from those places, the quality of our ideas are not the same. The thinking we think, you think we are burning money. No, it's not burning money. When I am planning some meetings, when I'm planning some webinars, I have a workshop to prepare. Sometimes I leave my house, go to a place. Why? Because the way my mind works in different environment is different. So you will need to sometimes put yourself out. I notice, for example, sometimes my best ideas comes when I'm on a flight. I'm just at that point, I'm looking at the clouds. Says there's a way so I never go on a flight without a pen and a jotter in the front pocket of my seat. No, it does not happen. You will never catch me going on a flight without, because, and almost every time I go on a flight, I come back with pages of notes. Even if you look at it, I start sleeping. Somehow, once I look out of the window and I start seeing those clouds and I start seeing things, it activates the mind. So the environment you put yourself, identify what are the environments that trigger my best thoughts. If you need to invest in putting yourself in that environment, put it. When you are trying to set goals for the next year, don't just do it from don't just lie under your bed. The room itself is just there. The ceiling is not looking interesting, and that's why you're setting goals. You cannot think big thoughts there. We're talking practical things here. Put yourself out, take time out, go to a place, go to the finest. If there's a 5-star hotel in your city, go there, enter the bar or something, go to the rooftop bar or whatever, ask them for a glass of Coke and sit down there, looking at the entire city or the skyline, looking at the pool, looking at things. You will receive inspiration. I'm telling you what works. I'm telling you what works. Someone says the volume is positive from my end. Can you people hear me very well? Please let me know. Let me know.
We are with you. We are with you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so if the volume is bad, maybe it's from the person who is also Pastor Kel. Check your own sound or your network. Yes. So yes, you need to put yourself. This is not fake life. You are tuning your receptors, your mental receptors. You are not trying to impress anybody. People say, you are living fake life. Why are you going to Sheraton? Why are you going to 4 Points? Why are you going to Ibamaikon to just go and sit down by the pool? Excuse me. Many of those places are even free to go to, but I can guarantee you when you go there, the quality of your thoughts will be different. People who know these things, they know it. Those who don't know it, they don't know it. So I don't think you can set big goals from your bedroom except you have tuned your bedroom. Now, there's a level of life you get to and you tune your environment. You put the kind of, your office becomes a thinking box. You design, do you think that people, CEOs or people who invest in decorating their offices, they are wasting money? When you see people at work in their offices, inspirational quotes in their offices, the lobby, everything, the lights, they are investing in their mind so that when I sit on that chair and on that table, my mind is at its best. It's an investment. Some of you need to go and rearrange your office in 2025. Those of us in that WhatsApp group, we know ourselves. Your office needs to change in 2025, not the building. Some of you need to change the building. Have you ever asked yourself why CEO's office is on the highest floor overlooking the skyline? Ask yourself. In banks, why do they call it corner office? The office that you are seeing the city, you are seeing the window. There's something that it does to your mind. You conceive greatness in some kind of environment. So, step 1, program yourself to conceive greatness, to think big thoughts. And the second thing you need to do in thinking big thoughts, speak with the right kinds of people. Your mind picks ideas from the things that you hear. 2 things, the things you see and the things that you hear. They program your mind. Your entire life programming is what you see and what you hear. So you need to begin to put yourself in the circles of people who say the kind of things that you know you need to hear to get the inspiration that you need for your next level. If everybody around you saying the normal things I've always heard, guys, you have plateaued yourself. You need to put yourself in. Those of you who are lone rangers, I don't like crowd, I don't like people, I don't network, I don't whatever. You're doing yourself. I can guarantee you get to a point and you will just stop thinking bigger thoughts because you cannot do some things in isolation. So find people who are doing big things and plug yourself into them. Make new friends. Go to the kind of places where people who do big things go to. Those of you in the PGA, we've talked about these matters many times. We've talked about the network, changing your network. Those of you who are going to be in the program, we'll talk about those things. But sometimes some of the kind of events you go to is not just because of what they will say. It's because of the kind of people you need to meet. So plug yourself in those places. Read books written by great people or written about great people. There's a way you are reading a book and you're just like, man, this guy did this guy did this. It just begins to plant ideas in your mind. You can't read about Henry Ford. You can't read about Rockefeller. You can't read about these guys and think small. So you need to spend time listening to people, talking with people, reading about people, or reading from people who are living the kind of life that you expect or that you aspire or that you desire to live. Spending time casually with some kind of people is not a waste of time. Some of us are too spiritual that we believe that it is, we need, when some friends are in town, these guys are doing great stuff and they say, oh, can you come have dinner with us? And you're like, man, I need to pray. I need to pray. I'm not saying don't pray, but sometimes just going out for that dinner and just listening to them talk about the kind of projects they are doing just makes you asking yourself, oh, more, now Scott will come this life. Because when you hear what people are doing, it's a way it inspires you to say, I can do more, I can be more. So stop being overly conservative, overly spiritual, overly myopic and saying, no, the things you see, the things you hear, expose your eyes, expose your ears, tune your environment. Put inspirational images and quotes around your living room, around your workspaces, around whatever it is you need to do. Do those kind of things. You are positioning and conditioning your mind to always think great thoughts, because that is the first bus stop in achieving greatness. Conceiving greatness, conceiving great thoughts. What do you need to do to be able to think big thoughts? Number two, after you have been able to conceive greatness, is to accept the idea of greatness, because conceiving is one thing, accepting is another thing. They are two different things. Some of us have imagined it, but after we imagine it ourselves, the pre-programmed mind kills it. You tell yourself, I can be the, I mean, you want to write an exam. Maybe you're a young person on this call, and maybe you want to write SATs, and they say SATs, what's the perfect SAT score? Is it 1005? Those of you who know. I mean, if I get this score, I can get scholarships to the best universities in the world. And you just thought about it and say, I can write this exam. I can get the perfect score. I can get into Harvard. I can get into Yale. I can get into MIT on scholarship. You conceived it. But then someone tells you, now Abuja ideal. Now you ideal. I'm in Lagos. All the I mean, do you understand what it means to get to Harvard by scholarship? You just kill the idea. No. If you can conceive it, it means you've been resourced for it. If you need to write that down, if you can conceive it, it means you've been resourced for it. Now, I'm still going to talk about that resourcing, because sometimes I'll talk about that. But the fact is this: the seed required to be able to achieve it is already in you. That is what it means, because God will not put an idea in your mind that he has not put, that he has not put the ability to execute. No, if the mind, and if the idea could come to your mind, if you could sit down and think wireless electricity, it means that somewhere around the line, somewhere along your journey, there's something in you that God has put that has the capacity, if not to do it yourself, but to facilitate the execution of that idea. So if you've told yourself that, well, all those things I've been thinking about, big farm, I can supply this, I can supply that, I can be the go-to person. The entire Nigerian army can be living off my fish farm. You think about it and you're like, how many fishes can feed the entire Nigerian army? I want to supply, I'm into this production, I'm into fabrics. I can get a contract for the police to sew police. I mean, you're thinking something like, you just kill it. You just kill it. No, you have the capacity to, and you see, for many of us, that's the next bus stop that we are. We think things and we kill them. We think them and we kill them. We conceive and kill, and we're in a cycle. We never get to the point of actually achieving anything, because all along we only conceive and we kill. In fact, some of you, the problem you have is even bigger than just conceiving and killing. Even when the gift is free, even when something is free, you have told yourself that you don't deserve good things. You have told yourself that you are not deserving of the of good things in life. Somehow, life has so beaten you and conditioned to just think that you are just wired to live a second-class life, a substandard life. You know, this life is for some set of people. You see the good life and you tell yourself, it's not for us. So even when God is opening doors for you, and these are doors that are going to bring you amazing blessing and resources, somewhere along the line, you start self-sabotaging yourself, saying, no, I don't deserve to walk in through this door. They give you good gifts and you can't even see yourself wearing fine clothes. You can't see yourself wearing a gold wristwatch. What did they bring to Jesus as a baby? Gold, frankincense. If Jesus received gold, who are you not? What I can receive good things too. If Jesus could receive the best gift, I mean, in the manger, Jesus was receiving expensive gifts. Come on, I deserve good things. And maybe that is what somebody needs to hear today, that you are deserving of good things. But see, some of you, it's still part of the mind. It's still part of life. Has so beaten us to a point that you that you don't even think that things are possible. If you're writing a comment or a message to me, just put it in the main chat so that I don't miss it. I see someone dropping a chat or you're DMing me directly. If you have questions, put them in the main chat so that my people can take note of the questions. So Daniel could take note of any questions, and then we can address them eventually. So, but for some of you, you need to first get to that point where you tell yourself, I am better than what life has taught me all my life. Yes, life has taught me poverty, life has taught me scarcity, life has taught me limitation, but I'm better than that. I can be bigger than that. If your mind captures the problem to solve and the problem looks bigger than you, somewhere along the line, God is saying this problem can be solved. If God is looking at a national problem and is coming to a Gideon saying, Gideon, this national problem, it is you now, we can solve it. I mean, I don't know where people are on this call from different countries, so I don't want to use particularly geographical examples, but let's look at Nigeria, for example. We have many national problems. Our electricity is a national problem. And if God is telling you, you can solve that national problem, you don't look at it and say, people, you know how many years people have been trying to solve electricity in Nigeria? It's not people like me. No. Your imaginations are pictures of possibilities. But when your subconscious mind captures it and your conscious mind wants to kill it, you must get to that point where your conscious mind is aware of the kind of ideas coming and is preserving them and is keeping them. And so you must have tuned your conscious mind to the point that you tell yourself it's possible. On that boat, everybody, 12 of them, saw Jesus walking on water. But only Peter said, if Jesus can do it, I think I can do it. And he says, if it is you, tell me to come. You see, at this point, we don't know how many of them thought of possibility. But only one person said, he's walking on water thing. If my boss is doing it, if my master is doing it, why can't I do it? And says, tell me to come. And Jesus told him, come. And did he come? Oh, yes, he came. Did he walk on water? Oh, yes, he did. What your mind accepts actually affects even the kind of things you can ask in prayer. Many of us, our prayers are small because our thinking is small. We don't even have the liver to ask God for some things. God says, ask me anything, I will do it. Yet, when you come to God with a blank check, your prayer size is limited to your thinking size. You are asking what you can imagine. You are asking what your mind has conceived. If you have not accepted the idea of greatness, you don't even have the mind and courage to ask God in prayer and say, God, this is what I want you to do. This is what I need you to do. There are some things you don't pray for because you don't believe they are possible. You've stopped praying for them. And God is saying, yeah, I can do all things. I am unlimited. I am all powerful. But you're telling yourself, no, this one, let me not even pray for this. God, just pay my house rent. My wife will always tell me, the same faith it takes to generate house rent, the same faith can generate money to buy a house. When we're building our first house, I can't forget, we're thinking at this level, we're thinking, oh no, so we've got this land, big land, and my own thinking was, you know what, to build a big house, you need plenty money. So let us first do a small BQ and move into the BQ. Then as we now have money, we'll build the main house. I can't forget, my wife says, the BQ money you don't have, but you are somehow believing that you can generate BQ money, but you can't generate house money. It says the same faith it takes to build the BQ, it will take to build the main house. And today, in hindsight, I understand very well that if I had wanted to build a massive duplex at that same point, the same faith was going to do it. Of course, thank God for the kind of woman that God blessed me with. We didn't end up doing the BQ. We went ahead and began to do the main house eventually, and we finished. And today I asked myself, so could this house have been bigger? Could I have dreamed bigger? Because see, God is all limited. Look, think of that story in the Bible. I think it's 1 Kings chapter 17, when the prophet told them, make this valley full of ditches. You will not see wind, you will not see rain, but this valley shall be full of ditches. God is saying, use your hand to dig the size of ditch that you want. What were ditches for? I will send water, but the ditches will be the containers of the water that you have. The size of the ditch you make will be the size of amount of water you have after the supernatural has happened. So if you like, dig ditch the size of a cup. If you like, dig the size of a jug or a bucket or a drum or a reservoir. It is the size of ditch you dig that will determine what you will have. God is saying, I have the capacity to fill any container you bring. You choose the kind of container you want to bring. Many of us, that's what we have done. We have shrinked our vision and our dreams to what is comfortable by us. Is our size now, not God's size. We're setting goals by our own size, not by the size of who is empowering us. And now, what are the tools? I've shared with you 2 tools for conceiving greatness. What you see and what you hear. What are the tools for accepting greatness? When you think of something, how do you accept it? How do you get to the point of agreeing with it? And there's basically one tool here. It's an affirmation. You either speak it into words or you write it. When you think of something, the way to agree with it is capture it. Sometimes you think of something and you are too afraid to even write it down. For what? Are you paying to write? Are you paying to speak? Are you paying to say, your writing is free. Speaking is free. Speak it, affirm it. Writing something or saying something is actually a proof of agreement with your person. You can think a thought and never agree with it, so you will never say it. That is why when you are in a class and the teacher asks you a question, right there in your mind, many answers fly through your head. No be so. But you never raise your hand to speak because you don't agree with the answers that are flying through your head. You only raise your hand to speak when you are in agreement with the answer. When they say 9 times 7, and like, is it 40? Is it 41? Is it 42? Until you agree, you don't speak. So speaking is a proof of agreement. So is writing. Same thing in the exam hall. You write a question. This is a question. Share the correct answer, A, B, C, or D. Until you agree with an answer, you don't take the right answer. So one of the ways to condition your mind to accept the thoughts you imagine is write them down. That's why the Bible says write the vision. Write it, write it, write it, write it. So when I say come with a book tonight, it was not just for the sake of coming. I need you to actually come with a book so that as you think of thoughts, you can actually capture them. And if you are not a writing kind of person, you are in the wrong place. Anyway, we'll address those things in the programs as we go on, because you need to become someone, you need to document the things that you do. One of the ways to accept the crazy thoughts is by writing it down. Tell yourself, you've seen these people who do these kind of things. We think that they are mind coaches, people that do NLP and all of those things, and they say, write a check and paste it on your wall. Write a check for $200 million or whatever, the kind of money you expect. Do you think that they are crazy? No, they understand the principle, they understand the hack. There's something that, I say, write a check, your own checkbook, put your name on it and write an amount and paste where you can see it. There's something it does to you. So have a notebook, write down the crazy things you think about. Say some of them. Put pictures on your wall that suggest some of the things you are thinking about. When people do vision board, that is what they are doing. Those things are not just unfounded. They didn't just pull them out of thin air. It's a framework they are following. You are thinking of something, but this thought does not solidify until you are able to capture it and agree with it. Agreeing with it is the point where you can visualize it, either in writing or in speaking or in visuals. So that is the next stage. Remember, it's a 3-way bus stop. Conceive, accept, then what? Do. Execute. Now, this is the next step. Do great stuff. This is the 3rd step of walking on water. Peter saw Jesus walking on water, and somewhere he thought, if Jesus can do it, I can do it. Forgive my bad English, it's deliberate. And then he says, if you are the one, tell me to come. And then when he says come, what did he do? He actually stepped out and began to walk. Many of us, we judge ourselves by what we feel capable of doing. So when we have imagined things, we have dreamed and built castles in the air, we tell ourselves, I'm a great guy. See, I'm innovative. But innovation is in your head. The world does not judge you by what you think. The world judges you by what you actually do. So until you have done, the world does not consider you as, if all that Peter did was walking on water in his mind, we won't be referencing it today. In fact, this thing will not exist, walking on water, because we never saw somebody do it. So for many of us, we have passed first bus stop, we have passed second bus stop. Those of you who have actually gone to the PGA this year, many of you have passed first bus stop, second bus stop. It is this 3rd bus stop you're having problem. How do you really go from thinking to doing? We believe that we should be celebrated. We believe we should be respected. We believe that our ideas are good. Excuse me, the world does not work that way. The world works by what it sees. Based on what the world is seeing, that's how they are judging you. They're saying, this guy, there's no, some of us, we think big. In fact, we write big and we talk big. If we check your profile on social media, as in, you look like one global consultant. But you know what the world is struggling with? They're trying to relate what you are writing and saying versus what they are seeing you do. Like, this guy is talking big. This guy is writing big stuff. But what has this guy done? So you actually need to get out of the boat and start doing stuff. And start getting stuff done. The world only judges you by evidence. In Nigeria, I will say, if evidence no day, you explain, tire. Many of us now explain, we explain. And the world is like, you have explained. Oh God, show us working, show working. So we need to get to that point where beyond thinking, many of us, to be honest, God has endowed us with ideas. You have dreamt dreams, you have seen visions, you have captured ideas, and these things have been in your notebook for the last 5 years. In fact, if we go to your journals and we read your journals, oh my God, you are the best philosopher in the world. Or God, publish. Let the world know. We don't, the philosophers we know in the world today, we're not the best thinkers. They are the best thinkers who put out their thinking. They're the best thinkers who wrote what they thought about and spoke about it. So there could have been a bigger philosopher than Aristotle, than Plato, and the rest of them. But we don't know because they didn't write. We don't know because we never saw what they said. We never heard what they said. So you need to get out of your head and start doing stuff, guys. And do you know the reason why many of us struggle? Because, like I said, this gully between level 2 or bus stop 2 and bus stop 3 is one of the biggest gullies that there is to cross. Many of us never go to point 3. We think of those things and we're like, no, I can't do this. We imagine them. In fact, we write them down. We agree with them. We affirm that this is possible. We know that this is possible. But we never get to the point where we start getting stuff done. And I'm going to tell you why. This is the problem. The reason many of us struggle to accept great thoughts or ideas is because we weigh the ideas against our current potentials. So you are seeing what your mind is capturing. You are imagining great things, but you are looking at yourself today, what you can do right now. And you're like, the idea I am thinking and the me I am right now, they don't match. Newsflash, they are never supposed to match. We forget that the person who conceives an idea is never the same person who executes it. I'm going to say that again. The person who conceives a vision, the person who conceives an idea is never the same person who executes it or who brings it to life. Every vision that is worth pursuing needs you to become a different person before you can accomplish it, because the vision is always bigger than you. If the vision is at your level, you're not thinking, you're not dreaming, it's not greatness. Leave the WhatsApp group, just go and live your normal life. If your vision is something that as you are now you can accomplish, then why are we talking about wasting our time? The vision is supposed to be something that is bigger than you. And so when you capture a vision, you forget that the vision is supposed to transform you into a new person who will make it happen. You are judging the vision by who you are right now, and you're telling yourself, this vision is impossible. So your idea of impossibility is because you are weighing a dream, a vision, or an idea by who you are today. And yes, the vision outweighs who you are today, so you just abandon it and just say, no. It's not people like me who do this. Gideon had never rallied a national army before. Gideon had never called a national meeting before. So when the angel told him, man of valor, you will rescue this nation, Gideon says, people like me, I'm a small boy in my father's house. But God is not looking at the Gideon of today. God is saying, the Gideon I've seen is a Gideon who has learned national politics, who can call a national meeting, who can give press statement, the person Gideon needed to become was going to be different. The Moses that God told you will rescue Israel and the Moses who rescued Israel are not the same Moses. The Moses that received the vision of liberation for the Israelites in Egypt and the Moses that actually led them out of Egypt, go and check. They are not the same Moses. Transition happened. Transformation happened. A lot changed. The Joseph that saw sun, moon, and stars bowing to him and the Joseph that actually led Egypt are not the same Joseph. They are two different Josephs. So the Juliana that is dreaming big dreams today, the Abraham that is dreaming big dreams right now, and the Abraham that's supposed to be are not the same Juliana and Abraham. So Juliana is seeing herself on the world stage, but when she looks at it, she tells herself, me like this, and you are judging yourself by who you are today. No. That's where we struggle. That's where the problem is. If you currently earn, let me use Naira because you're in Nigeria, you currently earn 100,000 Naira, and you are capturing a vision of a life that can only be lived by someone who earns 1 million Naira a month. You know what you tell yourself? That's impossible. It's not possible. Your salary is 100,000 naira. And then you see a house in Ikoyi in Lagos, or you see a house in Victoria Island, or in Maitama in Abuja, and you're like, man, this is the kind of house I should be living, to be able to bring the kind of ideas. You see, sometimes we think that the aspiration for good things is selfish. No. Wait until you see how productive you will be living under 247 electricity, and your entire house is air conditioned, and you're not having to think of paying rent or paying bills. When you get to that point, you will realize that there's productivity and there's productivity. If you understand that level, some of the things that God needs to do with you, the reason they have not happened is because you are still in a system or a life where your productivity cannot yet be unleashed. You need to aspire to escape that level, not for selfish reasons, so that you can become who God really wants you to be, and you can do the things God needs you to do. There's a part of town you need to live in so that you can meet the kind of people who are instrumental to your vision. There are events you need to be able to attend so you can meet the people that need to hear your ideas, but those events are not cheap to attend, and right now you cannot afford to go to them. Therefore, you need to cross to another level so that you can become the person God wants you to become. I really wish you guys understand this, because sometimes we think that the aspiration for more is carnal, is unspiritual, it's a proof that we have lost our faith. I hope you understand what I'm talking about. I just hope that God is giving you understanding on these matters, because when you understand it, you'll be angry at yourself for the life you have been living all this while. Because the people who are doing some of the things that we are doing, they are not struggling with some of the things that we are struggling with. They have overcome those levels. So there are some ideas you can't even conceive, because right now, your earning does not match the picture. You need a vehicle where you can, you commute to work 1 hour every day and you drive yourself. And tell yourself, if I had a driver and I have a vehicle where I sit back and I can walk in my car, 1 hour to work, 1 hour back, 2 hours, I can write an entire book in a month. But you tell yourself, I don't have that kind of car and I cannot afford a driver. So that vision of yourself doing those kind of things dies. We forget that we are supposed to transition. We're supposed to change. Yes, the you of today may not be earning 1 million naira, because the you of today cannot attract 1 million naira a month. Therefore, there is a transformation that needs to happen in you so that you will be able to get to that point where you can attract it, so that the vision you captured for that you can come to life. So the real challenge of achieving bigger things is actually a challenge of personal transformation. Walking on water, guys, is not about the goals, it's about you. The person who receives the vision, like I said, is never the same person who accomplishes it. There's a change that needs to happen. The real gap between vision and reality is a personal transformation gap. It is the person you need to become that is the challenge. Because the person you are seeing, when you are envisioning greatness, the person you are seeing in your mind is not who you are today. When you are picturing that stage where you are singing or you are speaking or you are writing and you are lecturing on that global stage, the person who is supposed to do that does not look like you today. Agreed. The real change is, how do I become that person? Because when I become that person, then I can do those things. This is where many of us get stuck. This is where many of us abandon ideas. This is where many of us kill visions. This is where many of us abort dreams, because we don't look like it now. So we just tell ourselves, that was not me I saw. Because you don't look like it now, you just tell yourself, no. See, the kind of person who runs an international business has some kind of qualifications. As you are today, you don't have those qualifications. Therefore, you tell yourself, I am not the kind of person who accomplishes those kind of dreams. I'm not the kind of person who runs a business that has a chain in 35 or 36 countries. Because you are telling yourself, no, I don't have that level of qualification now. You forget that we are not supposed to be static. We're supposed to be transforming. The butterfly, if he sees himself as a larva or pupa, or whatever the correct name is, and sees other things flying, and somewhere in him feels, I have the vision to fly. But he tells himself, people like me don't fly. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. So the real language you should be speaking when you capture ideas, when you capture visions, when you are setting goals that are audacious, It's not a question of impossibility. It should be a question of how long will it take? What do I need to become? So the real question to be asking when you receive a vision or have a big idea, the real question to ask is not how shall these things be? It is, who do I need to become to be able to bring this vision to life? That's the question that starts the chain reaction. That is the question that takes you from bus stop 2 to bus stop 3. Who do I need to become to be able to achieve or accomplish this vision? Every vision requires you to change. If anybody is doing something you cannot do right now, it is because that person knows something you don't know or knows someone you don't know. I mean, I like to use those two because the formula for success, which we teach in the PGA, what you know plus how you express what you know times who you know and who knows you. I've thought about that many times. Those of you who are coming in newly, you're going to learn that. You cannot do beyond what you know. That's the fact. You cannot do anything beyond your current level of knowledge and what you know. Therefore, when you have big dreams, when you have big ideas, you have big visions, the question you should be asking yourself is, who is the person that David needs to become so that this David that I see today can become the David that I have in my mind? This person who is doing what I aspire to do that I cannot do right now, what does he know and who does he know that makes him able to do it? Because if I know what he knows and I know who he knows, then I can do what he does. At that point, everything in this life becomes achievable. Yes, I started a business and I have only one store right now, but there are businesses that are in 125 countries. What did the founder know that helped him go from starting in a garage to 125 countries? If I know what he knows, then I can do what he has done. That question reduces the ambiguity of your vision. And suddenly, every water becomes walkable on. Why? Because human beings, we have the capacity to change. That is the heart. The fact that you can transform, the fact that you can transition, the fact that you can change is the reason why anything you can imagine is achievable. If we as human beings didn't have the capacity to change, then we can say, okay, well, this is beyond me. But the fact that you can learn anything, there's no knowledge in the world you cannot have. That you don't have it today does not mean it is beyond reach. Everybody who has it started from where you were. They did not have it some years ago. So if there's a vision that requires you to have a particular degree that you don't have today, well, then what is the problem? The simple question, like I said, is how long will it take? And so if anybody says, but you said you will do this, don't tell them it's impossible. Just tell them, give me time. I'm working on it. Because you are taking yourself to the point of transformation. If I begin to work on myself, there's nothing I will not be able to do. I mean, this is something I have done time and time, and I have seen time and time again. Because you have the ability to become anything. And that's why I love the game of chess. In the game of chess, the smallest piece, a pawn, has the capacity to become a queen. Just ask yourself, what do I need to do? All I need to do is go from this point to that point, and I can do whatever the queen can do. The pawn is the weakest piece. The queen is the most powerful piece. The weakest can become the strongest. It's just a matter of time and transformation. So if your vision or goal does not require you to change or to transform, sorry, it's not a big dream. You're thinking small. You're thinking very tiny. You're thinking very myopic. Your goals should be goals that look impossible to you from who you are now, such that you are telling yourself, leave the goal, let me go and change. You know, I have a coach, one of my coaches will always tell me, David, stop trying to be successful, grow. Just stop trying to be, don't say, what will I need to do? Just grow. As you grow, you are things. You become, success follows you. One of the other coaches I listen to says, you know, you don't chase your dreams, you position for your dreams. There's a positioning you have. There's a place you stay. The dreams run after you. Because you have become a magnet that pulls metal. When you pass, metals follow you. When you are not a magnet, you are passing, you are the one running after metal. Hey, pin, hey, button, hey, needle, come after me. When you become magnetic, all you're doing, you're just passing. The needles and the metals are following you. Who do I need to become or to do the things I see myself doing, or to become the person I see in that picture? So, as you begin to dream for 2025, These are mistakes you must avoid. Don't limit yourself to your current income. See, growth and comfort don't happen at the same level. If you're growing, you're not comfortable. If you're comfortable, you're not growing. You can't be growing and be comfortable at the same time. One, growth is a painful process, but when you grow, you become, that's how you transition. So when you're setting goals, you want to set goals that force you to become somebody else. You can't set goals that are limited by your current income. I know that this sounds counterproductive, but you see, we have been taught a lot of rubbish. And let me tell you the truth, some of the things that we were taught is not that because it's rubbish. It was deliberately taught against us as a weapon to keep us where we are. Oh, no, set your coat according, cut your coat according to your cloth. That was deliberately taught to poor people to keep them in poverty. Rich people don't cut their coat according to their cloth. They understand that you don't limit yourself to your income. See, okay, I won't say that here. I won't say those things here so that I don't veer off. But you see, there is an institutionalized weaponization of information, that they have used information to keep poor people poor so that rich can be rich. I've always told you, life is like a pyramid. More people at the bottom, few at the top. And the people at the top need those at the bottom to remain at the bottom for them to be at the top. Because if there's no bottom, there will be no top. So those at the top are deliberately creating systems to keep you at the bottom. Like people will say, there are decisions you make that at best, they guarantee you a middle-class life, at best. And when the world begins to advertise those decisions, they are telling you, let us give you bread and comfort so that you will settle for an average life, so that you will never aspire for more to leave us where we are. At the top, I said I don't want to go into this. Don't limit yourself to your current income. We're setting goals. Don't set goals you can fund currently. Now, I know that this goes against conventional wisdom, but this is how we grow. All of us who escaped this thing, who have come out of this thing, we understood this thing. If you are setting your financial goals and you're asking yourself, how much do I earn? I earn 200,000 a month. Therefore, in 12 months, I will earn 240,000. So let me draw my budget by 240,000. What kind of a life can 240,000 give me? I can't afford rent more than 50,000. I can't. You go that will represent who can earn at a different level so that you can live the life at a different level. So your income, current income, is not your benchmark for setting financial goals. No, your setting financial goals should be the desire of the life you want to live. What do I want? What is possible? So if you can't currently fund a family vacation by your income, then you tell yourself, well, people like me don't dream of family vacation. Guess what? You will never take your family on a vacation. Excuse me. People whose children go to Paris and go to Disneyland and go to South Africa and go around the world for holiday every summer, do they have two heads? Why can't your children do it? Why can't you fund it? What did your children do to be born into your own house? What mistake did they make that you are their parent? That you are now using your own small thinking to put their life at a particular level. I know some things are provocative, but that's the whole idea. I didn't come here to make you happy. I came here to challenge you. You need to set goals that stretch you. When we say preparing to walk on water, that's what we're talking about. Set goals that forces you to begin to think at a different level. It's the goal that makes you ask the question, who do I need to become to be able to afford a family vacation? How much is a family vacation for my family? 10 million naira. And this is not the 10 million cannot be my entire income. That should be the income that I'll spend on family alone. My current income for the whole year is less than 2 million. But I need 10 for a vacation alone. Therefore, what do I need to do to be able to earn 40 next year so that 10 can go to family vacation and I can afford other areas of life? That is the question you should be asking. Don't set goals. Don't limit yourself to your current skills. Don't say, oh, let me set goals for what I can do right now. So because I don't have any skills on partnerships, I don't set any dreams that will require partnerships. Because I don't have any skills on writing for grants, because I don't have any skill for doing XYZ, I don't set goals around that area. No. Set goals that will push you to acquire a new set of skills. Your brain has a function, has something they call neuroplasticity. Your brain can learn anything. The neuroplasticity of the brain makes it possible to learn anything. There is no skill available on earth today that you cannot learn. We're having lunch with somebody 2-3 days ago, and the person told me, David, go and take the certification. Totally out of my line. It's not in tech, it's not in education, it's not in whatever. It's in a totally different line. And the guy says, with your current combination, you need to add the certification because there are things that we need to do in front. I'm like, yes, sir, I have heard. As we left, my wife told me, take it serious. I want to go and check. I'm not going to check certification yet so that you don't go and start monitoring my life. But I want to go and check. The certification has 3 exams. Each of them is $900. So to get that certification, I need $2,700 minus training, minus. I'm like, hey, which kind of wala? I'm doing PhD here. I want to go and start. But you see, the dreams that we are discussing on that table require that one of us has a skill that none of us currently has. And they think I am the closest to it because I already have a combination that if I add this one to it. So when you're setting goals, set goals that forces you to stretch, that will force you to push yourself. Like I said, growth and comfort don't live on the same street. If you are growing, you're not comfortable. If you're comfortable, you have stopped growing. When I say comfort, I don't mean comfort of living good life. Comfort of pushing yourself. Some of you, you're not growing. The life you're living right now is not comfortable, yet you're not making any effort to become a different kind of person. Then what are you doing? You're not comfortable where you are, and you're not. So there are 2 kinds of pain. The pain of growth or the pain of stagnation. Which one do you want? Choose your pain. But pain, you must have pain. Whether you want to have struggled the pain of stagnation and stay at the same level, or you want the pain that pushes to another level, but set goals that require you to have different competencies. If you need to go back to school, let that be part of the goal for the year. That, to be able to achieve these dreams, to be able to walk on this water, I need an additional educational degree. And so my transformation next year is, I need to go back to school. That is how you walk on water. You become the person that can do the things that you are doing. Don't limit yourself to your current network. Don't set goals that people around you approve of. So this thing, if I say I want to do this, people around will think I have changed. Excuse me. So are you now living your life so that people around you are comfortable? So if people that are around you, if your current network, your current friends, your current associates don't approve of your goals, you feel then it is not worth pursuing. No. Don't set goals that only fit into the dreams of your current network. So everybody around you is thinking at a particular level. And because your own goals will now cross that level, they will now think that, you have left us. They will not become our friends anymore. See, I hear this statement and I don't know where it comes from. When people say you don't outgrow your friends, well, you can make of that whatever you want to make it. But if the people around you have become the ceiling of your life, please outgrow them. I beg you. If the friends who have, don't cut relationship, but understand that the people you journey with cannot be the same. There's a proverb I keep hearing. They say 20 children don't play together for 20 years. It simply tells you that some people will outgrow some people. This may be the year for you to outgrow your current network. You are on this call, you are listening to me. You've tried to fit into that circle for too long. It is time to break out of the circle. Let them say you have left them, no problem. You will come back and greet them later. Pursue those dreams. Don't set goals that people around you know how you can achieve, or that you have the people to help you achieve it. This dream, nobody in my network right now. Nobody in my network right now has or knows the kind of people who accomplishes those dreams. So because of that, you abandon. Say, no, I don't have anybody. Let the vision push you to know and to meet new people. So if you're in the wrong circle, let the vision that you have, let your dreams, let your goals for this coming year be the thing that will push you out of that circle so you can meet the right circle of people you need to meet. If you're setting your goals for next year, your income, current skills, current network, they have the capacity to tell you or to suggest to you what is possible. Tell yourself, I'm going to I know my limits, but I'm not going to let my limits become my limitation. So I acknowledge you. As of today, this is what I know how to do, and this is what I don't know how to do. No problem. For the now, for the today, I agree that you are here. But I know you so that I know what I need to acquire. I know what I need to become. I know what I need to transition into. You cannot do beyond what you know. Correct. But don't let what you know become your biggest limitation. When we had the 3R convo, I said, don't let your biggest break become your final break. You've achieved something, you've broken through a particular level. Oh, you have done something nobody has done in your family. And then suddenly you feel, I've arrived. No, don't let that become the limitation for your life. So now, guys, it's time to get your pens because we're going to do real workshop now. I've spent the last 1.5 hours talking. The next few minutes, I want you, all I did was to get you in a frame of mind, in a frequency of spirit, in a framework that you can actually begin to think. Now, do you have your pens? I'm going to ask you a few questions. And this is something I need you to write. This is not something you can answer in your head. Remember we said, writing is where you are agreeing with the thought of greatness. Conceive greatness, agree with greatness, do greatness. Now, what we want to do today is step 1 and 2. Step 3 is what we do throughout the year in our coaching programs. We join you to execute and all of that. But for now, I'm going to ask you a simple question. And I need to write the answer to this question. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? If failure was not an option, you know and you are sure that, so imagine that God gives you a blank check and God says, anything you imagine, you have the power to bring to life. What are the top 3 things you want to accomplish? Whether in 2025 or over the next 2 to 3 years. It may be bigger than 1 year, write it down. It may be probably for the next 5 years, but what are 3 practical things? If you knew that you would not fail, if you knew that all the resources will be available, what are 3 things that you will attempt to do in the coming year? I want you to write. Don't put in the chat first. Write in your book. When you have written in your book, then you can put in the chat. But this time, I want you to actually write something. And I want you to write 3, not just 1. It can be across different domains. I have not done this because I'm not sure it will work. Now God is saying, if I am, this is, make it, let this be hypothetical, right? If God is saying, whatever you imagine right now, I am giving you the power to, I will do it. I'm giving you a blank check. What are the 3 things you will attempt if fear was out of the way? Fear of failure, fear of what they will say, fear of where will the money come from. 3 things that you knew, I wish to do this, but I'm afraid they'll fail. Now, delete failure. What are those 3 things? Just write them down. Yeah, giving you some time. Conceive greatness. I know some of you are saying, but I'm not in the place where my mind is working. I'm in that room that is where inspiration is not coming. No problem. For now, right where you are first. You can go and redo this activity by the pool or by the beach or by one on the 13th floor of a 5-star hotel, sipping a glass of orange juice or something. You can go and redo this, and you will now probably realize that the quality of things may be different. But for now, what would you do? And I know for some of you, you don't need to think too far because there has been something in your mind that you knew that you should attempt this. Now, don't make it too abstract. Don't make it too ambiguous. Something that you would actually attempt if you had all the resources, all the network, all the skill to get it done. Write it down. And now you can write in the chat box now. You can copy and paste to the chat box. We want to see a few. So share with us, what are those big dreams? What are those things that the only reason you have not done them right now is because you are afraid that failure is an option and you don't want to fail. You are like, no. I have to hold my steez, We don't fail around here. We succeed at all we do. Excuse me. Leave that in. All of us fail so that we can succeed. We don't all win the first time. We don't all succeed the first time. But today, assuming failure is not an option, what would you do? So I'm waiting for you in the comment section. I need some responses in the comment section. What will you do in 2025 if you knew you could not fail? If you knew you would not fail, what would you do in 2025? There's a question I've seen in the comment section. Very beautiful question, which I'm going to come to. How do you manage thinking and conceiving these great thoughts when we are faced constantly with the problem of what to eat and bills to pay? Someone says to gain admission into the Lagos Business School. And I love that. Very practical. If I knew that if money was not a problem, I would work to gain admission. Let's say buy 1,000 businesses, work at Google, become a Harvard alumni. Okay. If failure was not an option, what are the things you will do? Write 3. Write 3. If you know that anything I put is possible. Relocate and leave Nigeria. Start a community of women who will be very influential and successful in their various areas. Host engaged conference in different cities. Someone says, send 100 missionaries to the mission field. Someone says, build a SaaS product that will be worth billions of dollars. Run for the post of governorship and presidency. Start a podcast, Thoughts and Revelations, which will grow to have multi-million subscribers in 5 years. And I love this. I mean, really, there's nothing that you are writing that is impossible. None of the things that anybody has written here is impossible yet. So everything I'm seeing here are within possibility limits. They are all within possibility limits here. Building the biggest inspirational community in the world, 32 chains of gas station, contest as American president. One says build the biggest real estate. Okay, that's number 2 for number 1. One says create a media company, push my brand through every region in Africa, travel the world, own a vocational school. I mean, everything I'm seeing here are doable things. And you know the funny part? Now, this takes me back to that beginning of my first point. When I said that whenever God wants to solve a problem on the earth, he puts ideas in the minds of people. And what I'm seeing some of you here, I'm seeing ideas that God has put in your mind to solve the problems of people. And some of you are sitting down on it because you are afraid of failure. I mean, see somebody saying, create where is that one again? When someone says, I would do something to help women, something like that. I mean, look at Thoughts and Revelations, start a podcast. There are people who need to hear that podcast. Victor, why have you not started it? Why is that podcast not running? Someone says, start a community of women who will be very influential and successful in their various areas. Why have you not started it? There are women around the world who the only thing keeping them in captivity and bondage and smallness is because Ezinne has not started this community. And Ezinne is afraid to fail. 2025 is the year to walk on water. That's the year to do the impossible. Look at Nzika and says, I'll create a media company. I mean, I'm amazed to hear that there's media lying down in your mind somewhere. On a vocational school. Do you know how much unemployment having a vocational school will eliminate in Nigeria? People who need to learn skills, plumbing skills, carpentry skills, so that they can provide for their families. Today, many of them did not eat Christmas rice because they can't earn money. And the answer to their problem is in the vocational school that Nsikan is supposed to start. But Nsikan has not started it because Nsikan is afraid to fail. Or for whatever reason, maybe not failure. Maybe Nsikan is thinking, I don't have the money, I don't have the people, I don't have the skill, I don't have the network. Somehow, there's something that has been limiting Nsikan from starting that thing. And there are thousands of people who are waiting for that manifestation of the idea that God has put in your mind. To make my trip to China for the purpose of getting fabrics and other fashion-related items, I will completely explore cars market. I will become a name in digital marketing. I will start a large-scale luxury cars importation and sale in Nigeria. Once I will build a tech consulting firm, that will be the first go-to firm for any business that wants to grow, to set up single plus food venture to run independent of me. I mean, I was reading all of these things and I'm just wondering to myself, why have these things not gone? Speak and debating on the world's greatest stages. Investing in multi-million-dollar company, leasing family lands across the nation and farming therein. See idea to feed a corn that cannot feed itself. Just look at this. Just look at this. Just look at this. Just look at. I mean, I'm just reading this. I'm just reading these things. Write a book on it. I mean, I'm just reading the ideas that are trapped in people's minds. And God is saying, "Oh my people, why are you?" Oh Lord, I'm just reading. I mean, this is mine. This is amazing. This is interesting. This is now good, fantastic. Build a state-of-the-art secondary school that can rank with charter housing. I mean, in infrastructure, have my school in Ghana, Kenya, South Africa, a couple of other African countries. I mean, just look at this. Start a fashion business, own a media company, lots of stuff here. Create a recreational center, help young people become who they should be in the right time, start selling ideas to help people solve problems. see, I'm going to take my time to read all of this. And if you are in the program for 2025, many of these things actually are going to, they're going to become the foundation for what we're going to be doing in PGA and in all of our coaching programs over the next year. Many of these things are actually going to be the foundation for them. So that's why I say write in your book first before you put in the chat. I don't know to have an idea. Now, the next activity for you is this. I want you to look at all of the things you've written down, because the goal is not the problem. This is where the problem is. This is where the problem is. Who do you need to become across these domains? Now, when I say these domains, intellectual, physical, spiritual, financial, career, social. So this image you have on the screen is something called the wheel of life. For some of you, we've done this before. So the wheel of life is a measure of where you are in life across different measurement metrics. The wheel of life is something that is supposed to help us know, how am I doing in respect to growth? So this is how it works, very simple. On each of these lines is a scale of 0 to 10. So you need to think and ask yourself, if 10 is where I aspire to be in my career, and 0 is like no, complete no, and this is my aspiration. As of today, where am I on this career growth? Am I on a 2 or am I on a 7? My social life, am I on a 0 or am I on a 10? My financial goals, my spiritual life, where am I? So usually, when you do your wheel of life and you join the dots, it's actually supposed to look something like this. So you join dots across different points. So the question I'm asking now is, across these domains, to be able to become that person who is a Harvard alumni, to become that person who builds a state-of-the-art recreational center in Enugu that will house vocational center, to become that person who mentors young boys and girls and put them on the right track, to become that person who owns a global education center, to become that person who starts a media company, who starts a podcast, who works in the United Nations as a diplomat and blah, 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 all of those things you wrote. Who do I need to become? What do I need to become in terms of my intellectual capacity? How knowledgeable do I need to be? What spiritual level do I need to grow to? What financial level do I need to grow to? What is the transformation that needs to happen in my life for me to become that kind of person? What kind of money do I need to be able to attract from investors if I want to build a recreational center? Recreational center possibly is going to be 500 million naira to build, or whatever. I'm talking in naira because majority of people are in Nigeria, or let's say $200,000, $700,000. At the level I am right now, can I attract that? Who do I need to become to be able to get investors to give me $200,000? What kind of profile do I need to have to be able to set up a vocational school? What are the things I need to know? Is there a certification I need to have? Is there a knowledge I need to have? Is there training I need to have taken? Is there some amount of investment I need to be able to pull? Because that is the real question. You need to know, where am I now and where do I need to be? Like I said, none of the things that you have written is impossible. The only question is, who do I need to become to be able to achieve it? And so once I understand who I need to become to achieve it, then the next question is, what's it going to take? How long is it going to take? And then you actually begin a journey of personal transformation into the person you need to become to attract those dreams. Because this is where the problem is. Some of us set those goals and then we start chasing the goals without becoming the kind of person who becomes it. So even when you get into a room to pitch to investors who have the money in their pocket to invest in your idea, they look at you and you don't look like the kind of person that they want to invest $1 million in. So they tell themselves, no, we're not going to invest. Not because the vision is invalid, not because the idea is bad, because they look at you and they say, we can't invest in you yet. You're not talking like the person who can manage $1 million. You're not talking like the person who can manage a network of 300 farms. You're not speaking the language we want to hear. So you need to go and ask yourself first, how do I acquire the language? How do I become the person? So This is the real challenge. Your growth goals across the domains of who you need to become to attract those goals is the real goal for 2025. I'm going to say that again. The real challenge of next year is not trying to do those things. It's actually trying to become the person who can do those things. Because when you become a different person, you attract and generate different kind of results. The results become natural. They become effortless. People see you doing things and they're like, I mean, Jesus was walking on water. For Jesus, it was normal because it is who he has been. It is who he is. I think some of you are getting it now. It is who he is. Who Jesus is, water is not a challenge. We walk on water, we walk on land, we walk on air. It does not matter. When the sea was blowing left and right and he was in the boat and we're saying, master, we're about to perish. The man was sleeping because it's like, no, you don't understand. There's a kind of person you become. Some kind of results are not, you don't put efforts to achieve them. They just become natural to you. So the reason why some of us are struggling with goals and dreams is because we have not become the kind of people who attract those results. We not become the kind of people who attract those results, those attention. So you're saying, but I am not able to stand on those stages. It is simple, sir. It is simple, man. You have not become the kind of person the world wants to listen to yet. That is why the world has not started coming to listen to you, or has not started inviting you to speak to them. So stop trying to get on the stage. Become the person the world needs to listen to. Acquire the intellectual capacity. Acquire the knowledge the world needs to have. And acquire the delivery skills of presenting to the world, of speaking in a way that captures the attention of the world. Give it time. The world will come for you. You won't go to the world. When we say you don't chase your dreams, you position for their dreams. The real challenge of walking on water is not a challenge of doing, it's a challenge of becoming. So for those of you who are going to be in my coaching programs in 2025, it's a journey of becoming. Because when you become a different kind of person, the results just come naturally. Have you ever noticed that two people can organize the same program with the same theme, with the same subtitle, with the same flyer? One person will fill up a hall of 1,000 people. One person will not get 50 people to attend the event. Why? It is not the theme of the event they are coming for. It is the person behind the event they are coming for. When you become the person the world wants to listen to. So the problem is not starting podcasts. Starting podcasts now, if you're a tech guy, you can set up podcast this night. Go on Spotify, set it and set it up. That is not the problem. The problem is becoming the kind of person who says the things the world needs to hear in a way the world wants to hear to command the attention of the world. That is the challenge of 2025, guys. If you can tell yourself, I know who I need to become. I mean, for me, that's the biggest work on this call. And if you realize this whole thing is becoming too simple, because you were thinking I'm going to come and share very complex algorithms and mathematics. No, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. Once you know it, you know it. Once you understand that the real work is knowing who I need to become, then knowing how to become it, nothing in this life is impossible. Absolutely nothing. Because if Elon Musk can do it, you need to ask yourself, what does Elon Musk know? Who does Elon Musk know? If I can know what he knows and knows who he knows, then I can do what he's doing. So I've just given you the first task. You've written down those big things. Now go and sit down. This is where some of you might need to talk to people. You might need to have a coach, have a mentor who you can ask and say, this is what I want to become. This is what I want to do. And you're going to go and do a research and say, what are the skills required to be able to do this kind of thing? Everybody in the coaching program, this is an assignment that you will have to submit, because we will have to ask you have to ask yourself, who do I need to become? What are the skills I need to acquire? Is there an additional degree? I mean, why do we go back to school? Because there are new dreams that we have, and our current educational level, even if we accomplish those dreams. I mean, I've told you people this story many times, some of you in the coaching program. When I decided I wanted to write coding textbooks, I knew what to write. But I knew that with my current qualification, the world will not listen to me. Because when I pull out the books, they'll ask them, they'll say, who is the guy that wrote the book? What does he know? What does he know? My going back to school to go and take certifications and degrees in the US was not because I wanted to blow money. I was simply telling myself, who do I need to become the person that when I write a book, nobody can talk. And when I talk, everybody will listen. On this subject, when I speak, the world has to listen. That is the challenge. Knowing who to become and then going on a journey to become it. The second task is, what is the life you desire to live, irrespective of your income, current income? These are the two questions I have for you tonight. The first one is, what will you do if you're not afraid? And you've written down things. Now, the next question is, what is the life you desire to live, irrespective of your current income? Now, this is going to be hard to write down in a sentence and say, this is the life I want to live. So I'm going to give you a tool for designing the life you want to live. See, this thing looks very ordinary. And that's why I like God. God does not make the important things in this life complex. He makes them so simple so that anybody can achieve it. Like my pastor will say, salvation is so easy so that you don't need education to be saved. I mean, the entire process of getting saved is just straightforward. Believe that. So you don't need the qualification to do that. These things are so easy that you don't need rocket science. I'm going to share a tool. This is one tool that we discovered, and this is the one tool that has transformed our personal and family finances. It's like magic. It works like jazz. It's called a family budget. And I'm going to share with you. Please, can you put the link in the comment section now? There's a document I'm going to share with you, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a template right now, and I'm going to show you how it works, and then we're going to do it together. I think that, oh, okay. Please, can you put the link? Daniel, if any of you, put the link in the, anyone with the link can view. Yes, I think I've updated the settings now. So just drop the link in the comment section. There's a document, it's an Excel sheet. Please just click on it and it's going to open, and I'm going to show you what it's going to open. See, this thing might look like I'm just boboing you in Nigerian language, like this thing. It's a template that we created for what we call a family budget. But it's for us in a family budget. See, it's called a yearly family budget / financial statement of faith. We have done this for years. When I say years, it sounds like it's 20 years. Maybe probably like 6 years or 7 years, maybe 7 years now. But let me tell you, this is the one tool I can point to that transformed our family finances. The first year we did this, it was like, what? It's like magic. What you need to do, can you all see my screen? Just confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Good. So
Yes,
if
you can see it.
If you open this is what I need to do. Click on file and say make a copy, because you can't edit my own right now. This is my master copy, so it's not editable. You can't edit it. But click on file and click on make a copy. It will duplicate this same document for you that is now your own that you can edit. So I'm going to show you how to use it, and then you're actually going to use it, and you will use this to set the kind of life you want to live. It's a template. It has 2 segments. Look at it. It's called a financial statement of faith. When I said you don't set your financial goals according to your current income, you set it, you design the life you want to live, and then you ask yourself, how much do I need to be able to live this life that I want to live? That is the flip side of it. That's the question that turns everything around. When we began to do this, our family income was, I cannot mention, it was pitiable. But we asked ourselves, hold on. So this document has 2 segments. There's income and there's expenditure. So just follow me, and I'm going to show you how this document works. And each of you is going to run this document by yourself. Please, someone says resend the link on the group, on the comment section, so that everyone can click it or you can copy it. Resend it. For those of you who are in any of our programs, you're in any of our communities, you can drop the link in the WhatsApp group. So please drop the link in the WhatsApp for all the programs, PGA, Level Up, and Exponential Growth, so that people can have it from there. But those who are just joining, like visitors on the call, put it in the chat box so that they can get it in. So this is the first rule is, don't start with your income. Start with your expenses. If you start with your income, then you are simply telling yourself that you cannot live above the current income that you generate. Please stay with me. This is too simple, but it's life transformative. If you understand this, and this is the last thing we're doing. So don't look at your watch. After this, we'll end the call. And I hope it will have been, I've given you enough tools to work with. But don't start with your income. Go to your expenses. Now, what we did in the expenses is we have a monthly section and a yearly section. So for most things, and we've created categories, we simply use this at the level of our life at that point. You can add many things to it. You can add many things to whatever you want. So there's capital and major expenditure. So house rent, vehicle purchase, furniture change, new phone, you want to buy a new house, whatever it is. So you can say, okay, buy a new house or start a new business, whatever it is. What are the capital expenditures? Now, this is what you do. For whatever you want to do, capital expenditure, those ones are yearly expenditures. So you put them like, okay, this is 600,000. Now, there's something it does. It's a template. So once you put in the figures, it's actually adding it for you at the bottom. There's a bottom. And warning, when you are doing this, don't look at the total. Just walk by faith. Ask yourself, how much is my current house rent? Or how much is the house I want to live in? Your current house rent may be 200K, but you tell yourself, no, I deserve to live in a house that is 1 million. Write 1 million there. Do you need a new vehicle? Or you want to upgrade your car, whatever it is? My family needs a new car this year. How much is a new car? A new car is 12 million. Now, this is as far as your eyes can see. When we say a new car, some of you are thinking, if I can get a car of 2 million, some of you are thinking, no, brand new car is 35 million. I'm not going to go into that matter right now. That is the level of your thinking and the level of your mind. For now, get the principle. What things do you want to do? The year we did this, that year, we just realized, I think that was the year, I think our daughter was becoming like 2 or 3 years old that period. And we're like, this girl does not know how to eat on a dining table. She eats on the floor. And the reason she eats on the floor was because we actually did not have a dining table in our house. I said, wait, before we go out, and this girl embarrasses us because she cannot eat on a dining table, we need to buy a dining table. So we set on our goals that year, we'll buy a dining table. That year, we'll put, okay, I need to buy a camera. So just put whatever you want to put. As you're putting it, your income is increasing. Now, what are your recurrent expenditure? So you have DSTV, you have Netflix. So you can actually change this to whatever it is. I mean, it's yours. That's why I say make a copy, Netflix. So you can say, okay, entertainment or whatever, entertainment bill for a month, maybe my Netflix or whatever, I spend 10,000 a month, put it there, automatically it multiplies by 12 and then gives you your annual figure. Internet subscription. If you are alone as a single person, what's your data subscription? If you have husband and wife, or you have maybe husband phone, wife phone, and you have a house Wi-Fi, put everything together. What's my monthly subscription? If you do Starlink, Starlink has now gone to 75,000 from 38,000. Good news for those of us who use Starlink. I have just given you people update now. So if you do Starlink, know that, okay, my internet subscription is 75,000. Like I said, warning, as you are doing this, don't look at the total. If you look at the total, to give you a heart attack. Free advice. This is where you're setting the kind of life you want to live. If at your level, you buy 2,000 naira data a month, problem. Data, 2,000 naira. Calls, how much credit do I buy? Airtime, I do 5,000 a month. Waste management, power bills, all of those things, set it. For repairs and maintenance in my house, how much am I budgeting to repair generator every year, or rather to repair my car every year and all of those things? If it's 5,000 or whatever, this is just you sitting down. And like I said, this is something you do planning. For us as a family, we used to leave the house. My wife and I used to go out of there. When I say we used to go to a hotel to go and plan, this is what we're going to do. We sit down together and we design and say, for next year, what kind of life do we want to live? What gadgets do we want to buy? Okay, next year we need to buy a new TV. How much is TV? 300,000. Set it. So savings, education, investment, school fees. How much school fees are we spending? What are we spending on school fees in the whole year? What do we need to do? So if it's school fees for yourself, for your wife, or whatever it is, if your children's school fees is 70,000 a term, multiplied by 3, multiplied by the number of children, you will know how much school fees you are actually spending every term or every year or whatever. So you can actually put that and you will be able to, it does that. So just go through the entire document and look at what you have and look at what you've created so that you will be able to know how much you actually need in the course of the year. If you don't do that, you'll be living on an assumption. You'll be assuming that, okay, maybe my income can take care of me. Maybe my this can take care of me. Do that. For us, I remember when we started doing this, it said the next year, I actually used to have, there's a section I used to put on personal growth. So personal growth or personal learning, I used to put like $1,000. Just put the figures. So children saving account, how much I save for your children? Okay, every month for children, we'll save 30,000. Children's school fees. So every term or every whatever you put it there. I mean, for children's school fees, it can be for the whole year. You can put the figure there. Membership in professional bodies, how much are we paying as investment? How much am I going to do a postgraduate degree? So the person that says he wants to go to Harvard, how much is the Harvard school fees? How much is the application form? Whatever it is, do those things, put them there. Family savings, come to medical bills. Are we doing medical insurance? Are we expecting to spend money every month on medicals? If it's insurance you want to do, how much is insurance? Just as you put it, this is you setting the life you want to live. If there are things under that category that you don't currently spend on, add them. Simply add them and drag. That's why it's an Excel template. So to add a new figure here, just do right click here and say insert row above. So okay, medical and health insurance. Okay, supplements. So maybe you buy supplements every month, or your supplements cost 12,000 a month. You put it there. Just drag the formula from the top to come here, and suddenly you know you are spending 144,000 on supplements, and it shows you your category total. Like I said, if you make the mistake to come here, you will just see that I've not even gone anywhere. This year alone, I'm spending 17 million. Maybe your entire life in a year, you don't see more than 5 million. And suddenly you are seeing 17 million as your expenditure. You just give up. That's why I say free advice. Don't go down. Put those things there. What are the things you spend on? See, for us, even our church offerings, we go to church 3 times a year, a week, or 2 times a week. So 2 times a week, how much do we give in church? How much do our children give in church? So on a monthly basis, if we give 10,000 and our children give on 1,000, so per service, that is 23,000. So if we do 2 services in a week, that is 23,000 multiplied by 2. And then in a month, multiply by 4. So our offering alone is 184,000 a month. Now, if you don't do this, now this is why this is important. If you don't have this as a plan, you just realize that every time it's time for offering, you'll be checking your pocket. How much do I have? This is you telling yourself, every day I show up in church, I will give an offering of 10,000 naira. Remember the question I asked? Design the life you want to live. Do you want to live a life of this or of that? If 10,000 is above your means, not a problem. Oh, for now, our monthly offering will give 500 naira, 12,000. It will bring it to your level. Missionaries and mission support. Now, if you don't do mission support, you can delete that. For us, we have a budget as a family every month. How much do we give to missionaries? How much do we give to our parents? Every month, we know what we give to our parents. Extended family, we have a budget for extended family beyond what we give to our parents. So one uncle, one cousin, whatever, somebody's in need. If you don't put it in a budget and you don't put a cap on it, let me tell you what is going to happen. You will be thinking you have money, and everybody that calls you, you'll be answering them. But see, if we have said that, oh, for extended family, our monthly budget is 20,000. At the end of the month, if by 6th of the month, a family member has called and needed 20,000, we have given the money, and somebody has called tomorrow and say, hey, my child's school fees, so my what would we tell the person? We don't have the money. It does not mean there's no money in our account, but the money for that category for that month has extended. Now we have miscellaneous giving. If at that period, there's still miscellaneous giving that we have not yet expended, we can now draw from it and give out. Or sometimes we can, if the need is very pressing, we can borrow the next month own and do this month. And the next month, we're not doing. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Are you getting the picture? I want to be sure I'm not just speaking in tongues here.
Yes, sir.
Please,
Yes, with you.
Good. So it's a planning tool. It's actually a planning tool, and you can't do this just casually. You need to sit down, go to a place, buy good lunch, buy good food, sit down, eat well, and know that, okay, for the rest of the day, if possible, don't go back home that night, sleep in that hotel. Spend the night working and planning and thinking. These things will actually turn things around for you. So let me leave it. So clothing and shoes, how much are we spending on clothes for the year? How much are we spending on clothes for the children? Do you have a house help? Are you buying domestic? What are the entire travels we are covering this year? Am I traveling? If we're traveling twice every month and you're traveling by flight, you can estimate how much you are likely going to spend on tickets. If you are doing a family vacation for the year, how much is that? Okay, so for the year, we want to do family vacation and it's going to cost us 10 million because we want to go abroad. Oh, all of these subscriptions. Am I in a gym? Do I have a spa subscription? Do I have a sports club? I mean, I'm part of the golf club. So every month, every year, I know I have 100,000 golf renewal, whatever, but it's annual, so it's not money, so I don't have to put it there. So I just put all of that there and you can put that together. What do I do for eating out? Now I have lots of licenses. I'm paying for Canva, I'm paying for ChatGPT, I'm paying for all manner of subscriptions. So I put them here, my premium, all of that. So before the year starts, I have an idea of how much I'm going to be needing to live the life I want to live that year. Now, do you have a driver? How much is driver salary? My driver probably earns 45,000 a month. So I know that in a year, I need 540,000 to pay a driver. Do I have a secretary? How much am I paying the secretary? How much do I pay my domestic staff? I mean, just put those things. These are all arbitrary figures. As you're putting it, is adding your total expenditure. So you know that every month to live the life I want to live, how much do you need every month? Who can look at it? Because it divides that your total by 12. Your monthly lifestyle is now how much?
1.7.
1.7 million to live. You need 1.7 million to live the life you want to live. Remember what I said. If you don't do this, you will just believe that your 100,000 naira a month income, they just shall live by faith. But right now, what this does to you is that it takes your desired lifestyle from abstract to tangible. Now, when you have done that, come back here. If you are single, delete wife or delete husband. But if you are married like us, I say, okay, how much does my husband earn? So husband, how much do I earn? Now, for those families where husband money is husband money, wife money is wife money, I don't know how you guys do this one, or God will help you. Me, I know what the Bible says, the two shall become one. So in my own family, our monies, we earn money, the money comes together and we spend money as a family. So if the husband earns 150,000, this is arbitrary. The wife also earns 150,000. This is hypothetical rather. And then, okay, if this is all your income, let's say this is all that you currently earn, husband salary, wife salary. Look at this. Your total family income is how much? 3.6 million. Your total monthly income is 300,000. But your total monthly expenditure is 1.7 million. Therefore, you know that the difference between the income you currently earn and the life you want to live is how much? 1.4 million. So what this does for you is that it tells you when you want to pray, you're not just praying, God bless me, God bless me. You are simply saying, God, between where I am and the life I desire, I have a monthly deficit of 1.4 million. Show me what I can do over the course of this year to generate that deficit. That prayer is different from God bless me. That prayer is a different level of prayer. When I say that, when we did this, the first year we did this was the year our family income began to change. Because suddenly our prayer point became a number. And we could say, oh God, this is how much we need to go from where we are. The truth is, if you do this, I can guarantee you, your number will be negative. Your deficit will be deficit because none of us on this call right now that I am aware of currently earns enough income to live the life that we desire to live. However, what this tool does for you is that it takes your desired life from an abstract thing in your mind to tangible numbers. That's why I say it's a family budget / financial statement of faith. You are telling God, this is the life I believe I deserve to live. I don't want to go to the school I can afford. I want to send my children to the school that they deserve to be. So if I can afford school of 35,000 a term, but the school my children need to be, they are paying 200,000 a term, I'm going to put 200,000 as my school fees because I want my children to go to the school where they need to be, where they deserve to be. So you are taking your life from accidental luck and you're saying, God, this is now a statement of faith. You're now, suddenly what happened to us that year is our eyes began to open. When we are praying, we're not just saying, God bless us. We're praying and say, God, give us ideas. Give us ideas to cover this deficit. And suddenly, we'll see business opportunities. And so you can now begin to put possible income. Tell yourself, okay, this is a section of income I don't currently generate. How do I position myself to begin to generate it? Something that happened to me that year. The first year we did a family budget, I was invited to speak at an event in Enugu that year. I mean, that was probably many years ago, 2016 or thereabouts. Yeah, I was invited to come speak at the conference in Enugu. And I went to Enugu. I mean, that was like my first, they just invited me for a retreat, and I went there, spoke. And I wasn't even expecting anything. For me, just let me just come and preach and just teach them about leadership and all of that. And then I finished. And then they gave me envelope. And I opened the envelope, and there was 70,000 inside. 2016, they gave me 70,000 for speaking. You know what that thing did for me? That thing just made me realize that, David, your knowledge plus your mouth can generate money. That year, I came back to the budget and I came to add a category and called it books. That was the year we began to buy. I told myself, I will invest in knowledge and I will improve my capacity to speak. My brain and my mouth will generate money. Right now, what my brain and my mouth generates is a significant part of our income. Because suddenly I realized that there's money available. There's money in my mouth. I can speak, I can train. I mean, talking comes easy for me. And all I need to have is the knowledge the world needs, being able to present it the way the world needs it. And I'm going to get paid for speaking. So suddenly I can say, okay, speaking fees. And I answered my faith, okay, God, how much do I want to make a month in speaking? Every month I want to make an extra 100,000 naira in speaking, whether it's preaching in church or training for people. Suddenly my deficit is reducing because God is opening my eyes to resources. There's a story in the Bible that I like to reference at this point. When Abraham sent Hagar and Ishmael out of the house, when God told him, send them away, and they left the house and they were in the wilderness, the Bible says, and their water finished, and Hagar left the boy by the side and went and was crying because she didn't want to see the boy dying. And she was crying to God. And an angel appeared and said, why are you crying? And the Bible says, I mean, I love that scripture. And God opened her eyes and there was a well of water beside her. God did not dig the well when they got there. The well was already there, but her eyes was not open to see it. All that God did, the miracle God did was to open her eyes to see that the resources she needed was already available. She had a bottle of water. She was praying to God for a bottle of water. God gave her a well, much more than she needed, much more than she can exhaust. Maybe they built an entire camp around that well, and that became their survival and their entire livelihood. What I'm saying here is that the things you need, God has already provided them. The resources are already available around you. What God needs to do is to open your eyes to see where they are and to help you to know, what do I need to do to be able to tap into the resources already available? I can guarantee you this activity can change your life if you get it right. Tell yourself, what other sources am I going to come? Okay, so this year I'm going to publish a course and I'm going to sell the course for 10,000 naira a course, and my goal will be to sell to 1,000 people. If you sell a course of 10,000 to 1,000 people, how much is that? Pico, tell me. Is that not 10 million? So if I do a course of 10,000 naira and in the course of the year sell 10,000 people, suddenly that's 10 million naira to my income. You have not stopped earning 150, but suddenly God has opened your eyes that there's a knowledge you have. So you cannot say, okay, course or online course I'm going to create, online course. So this year I'm going to become the kind of person who can build the course, and I'm going to learn the skills to monetize the course, to market the course, such that my goal for this year is 10,000 people will buy my course. So I'm going to make, or 1,000 people buy my course at 10K, and I'm going to make 10 million naira. You just realize that money is actually around you all along. Now you know, Siam. Suddenly, our deficit has gone from 1.4 to how much? To 400,000. Keep praying for God to open your eyes. God will show you the new, I mean, the well is already close to you. The resources are already available to you. Your eyes just need to open. Two things. God opened my eyes to see it. And then what are the skills I need to develop? Who do I need to become to be able to tap into these resources? Because for many of us, the biggest barrier to living the life we desire is financial. The question somebody asked, how do we do all of these things when we're trying to pay our bills? You need to rise above paying of bills. That's the answer to that question. Until you have addressed that issue of survival, there are things in this life you should forget about. There are innovations that people don't generate when they are trying to survive. Survival is one of the biggest enemies of innovation. If you are trying to pay bills every month, you cannot build long-term, because you see, the intellectual composure you need to be able to create an online course that the world wants to buy requires you to be able to put yourself in a frame of mind. Sometimes you will need to travel out of your house to go and build that course or to go and conceptualize it. When I was designing early coding for kids' books, I used to go to the hotel just to go and sit down and write. I'll pay good money to go to a hotel just to go and sit down. Okay, someone says from 3 days stock for 70K to 3 days of 500K to 3 days stock 1.2 million. I mean, this is my wife talking. She knows what she's talking about. She has seen the transition from me training for 70K to where I train for 500K to where I train and collect 7 figures. She has seen this happen. The same mouth, the same brain, just scale is changing. And what she's talking about is not fiction. That's my wife's comment, by the way. So she's telling you what she has seen happen in real life. And my own is how I'm going to add another 0 to that 3 days now to make it to 12 million. That is the next level I'm trying to get to right now. I've not reached the level where they have paid me 12 million to speak yet. But I heard somebody said he went to speak and they gave him 7 million. I'm like, they gave someone 7 million for speaking. What is wrong? What is my mouth a vulcanizer? But you see, it's not about that. Who do you need to become that kind of person? Recently, we checked Vusi Tembakwayo. We checked Leke Alder. Leke Alder speaking fees is $10,000 per session to speak. For Leke Alder to speak at your event, you need to have $10,000. Vusi Tembakwayo is now $30,000. Your entire annual budget, somebody's get is transformation. Who becomes practice. When you become that kind of person, the money will follow you. The people who pay that kind of money, they are there and they are looking for people. In fact, many of them have events and they are saying, who can we invite to our event to come and speak? But because you are have not been activity, but guys, it's a no-brainer. It's a life changer. If you are here and you are a family, I challenge you. Try doing this. Husband and wife, take out time, sit down and do your family annual budget. This will be one of the financial transformations that your family needs. As a person, that first goal, what would I do if I was not afraid? Then ask yourself, who do I need to become to be able to do that kind of a thing? Much of what we're going to be doing in the PGA, those of you who join the Personal Growth Accelerator, those of you who join the Level Up and whatever program, these are some of the questions we'll be answering over the next few months, helping you to identify those blocks, helping you to become those things. Because whatever dream you can imagine, like I said, if you can conceive it, it means you have the capacity to bring it to life. The DNA for achieving it is already in you. Someone asked a question. The replay of this is going to be available. For everybody who joined the class live, you have access to the replay. Those who did not join the class, they can buy the replay to watch it, because I have also realized that this my knowledge and this my mouth can become money. I've seen people sell replays, and so I'm going to add to my family budget for the next year, because my family budget for next year is already scaring me. If you think that because every year our family, and by the way, there's one thing I need to show you in that family budget, very important. Thank God I didn't forget this. It will have pained me if I forgot this. Sometimes there are things you want to do in the course of the year, and you know that if you write the figure, it will just kill your faith completely. So after all the budget, we now have this section, we call it special faith project, for the things that your faith does not have the ability to convert to numbers. So maybe you're applying that this next year you will own a house. You will buy a house. How much is house? House, it depends on where you want to buy it. Maybe 90 million, 70 million, 40 million, whatever it is. And you know that if you write 70 million here inside this place, it will so take your monthly expenditure to a point where your faith cannot carry it. So those kind of big things that you think that, this one, let me not put it in my monthly income. Come here and write it and say, okay, new house in Abuja. We're going to buy a new house in Abuja. And what is the faith project? Sometimes you may not put a figure for it. You might just say, you know what? This is a faith project. No figure. Just after all that we are trusting God for in numbers, this is something that we are trusting God for. It could be scholarship. And sometimes God meets these needs. I mean, I don't know if people have had experience with this and how it has worked for them. So that's not just my story. One of the years that I put that my personal growth was going to be $1,000. That year I said that year I said I'm going to invest $1,000 in personal learning for that year. Of course, right now I spend thousands of dollars every year on personal growth. That's probably my highest expenditure right now. Both my wife and I, personal growth is one of the biggest things to spend on, because we realize the day we stop growing, everything we are doing stops. So right now, there's no course that is too expensive for me to attend. I simply tell myself, am I worthy of investing this money in myself? I know the principle we talk about. You don't have the right to charge people an amount that you've never invested in yourself. The reason why many of you cannot charge some amount of money for your services is because you have never invested to train yourself to that level. The day you start training yourself in hundreds of thousands, charging hundreds of thousands will not be big to you. If I never paid millions to train myself, I won't have the mind to put a fee on PGA. So when I put a price on PGA and tell you pay for PGA, I'm not apologizing, I'm not begging, because I know that, look, I have gotten the knowledge that if people pay this amount of money, which is a fraction of what I paid, to access that knowledge, I'm doing them a favor. It's what it is. That is how it's principle. So you need to invest in yourself. You need to put money to grow yourself, to buy knowledge. Bible says, buy the truth, buy wisdom, buy understanding. They are not meant to be free. Many of you, this is going to be the most transformative year of your life, not because of the things you'll be hearing, but because you have broken that jinx of you have paid money to be able to cross into a level where you are buying knowledge for yourself. So, but I was saying that year I put $1,000 for personal growth, and I think by August, I don't think I'd spent $100 on personal growth. I'm like, oh boy, this year, how will I grow to worth $1,000? By that same August, September, I got a scholarship for a certification that cost $980, and it was paid for. Excuse me. Did I invest $1,000 in my growth that year? Yes, even though it came from a scholarship. But by the end of that, by December that year, I had gotten a certification that cost me almost $1,000. And that certification opened up many new doors for me in my career that year. So it's not all the monies that will come from your sweat, from your income. Somebody can say, oh, you know what? We have a slot for somebody to do a course in Harvard or something. And that what was on your budget for $35,000 can just be written off by just somebody, who you know. I mean, you can never tell. But if you have not written it down, you won't even be in the frame of mind where you are positioned to recognize when it comes. I don't know if this makes any sense. Because of our time, I will have to stop. Of course, those of you who are here, who are in my program, know that I can talk. But because this is just a setting of a stage, the real work, for those of you who are in the program, we will see ourselves many, many, many more times. I'm soon going to drop the timetable for all of the programs for the coming year. For those of you who need to go and take your time, do a personal retreat, set your family budget, set your personal goals, identify what are my personal transformation goals. Like I said, the real goals for the year is not the what I need to do. It is the who I need to become. Because once you become it, the doing becomes a piece of cake. I think I'll have to stop here so that I don't keep you people overnight. But at this point, I'm going to take questions. If you have questions, usually I like to record the questions because of those who are in replay, because sometimes there's a lot of insight that comes in the question. Does anybody have a question? But before while I'm asking for questions, if you have a question, you can raise your hand so that you can voice it out, or you can type it in the comment section. Is there anybody who has done the family budget between last year or the last 2 years? You've heard us talk about it and you've done it before. And I want to hear your experience. What has doing a family budget helped you? What insights have you gained from it? And how has it helped you as a family, as an individual? You've done the budget. Anybody?
Hey everyone, good evening. Good evening, Coach David.
Yeah, good evening, Nana. Yes.
This is Nana West. Okay. Yes, we did this last year. After we joined the meeting you had in school, before we joined the PGA group, right? You shared this templates with us. Yes. And then we decided to do it. It took us over 4 days, but it was a lot of back and forth, my husband and I trying to do it. And by the time we finished, the both of us were like, we legit closed our laptop and said, let's just take a breather, because the total value was making our hearts palpitate. It was scary. And we had like big dreams and visions and all of that stuff. This year, I decided to start my MBA with an American university. And myself and my husband were like, are you sure we can finance this now? And we just took a leap of faith, honestly. And I graduated with distinctions in November. That was part of my vision board as well. And we were able to pay, even when dollar was dollar in and Tony on your own and all of that, we paid. And the funny thing was, when we were putting some of those budgets, we're putting based off last year's December dollar exchange rate and all of that. So, but even though the dollar exchange rates kept moving all up and down, we were still able to, take care of some of those things. Now this year, as you were sharing this, myself and my husband were already saying, while we're planning our budget, we're already going to put some inflation, figure there, because we know whether we like it or not, inflation will still occur. So we just, exceed the amount. So if, say, for gas, we used to spend, maybe we put 30K per month. This time around, we can just jejely put 50 because something might happen. We don't know how Nigeria will turn. But it's been very transformative. Like, it was really, really good for us. It helped. The good thing about this was, when we did it, we didn't know where the monies will come from. I remember my husband, also saying, okay, these are the places where I'm expecting income from. What would happen? And there was one month he was like, I have not met my budget for the month. That's how serious my husband took it. I have not met my budget for the month. What do I need to do to bring in money? And he prayed, and guess what? People were calling like, hey, Barrister West, I need to do this. I need to do that. And I was like, is this how God works? So it is indeed a faith document. And I'm taking it serious. We have not started for this for 2025, but we're definitely going to take it serious, and it's transformative. So please don't joke with it. Don't sleep on it. That's what I'd like to share.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that. Congratulations, by the way, on that MBA. I know when we were talking about that MBA, it was like, should we do this thing? And now you see, you have become a different person. That's the truth. The Nena of last year is not the Nena of this year. Totally transformed, different person. So now you can attract new things. And I remember that goal, right? That goal was to become COO. How is that coming along?
Funny enough, just like some weeks ago, I had another. So my where I work right now, my CEO has that offer on the table, but what she's bringing with it is not so enticing. And then just some week ago, I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn, like, hey, we're recruiting. Like she said, I headhunt for this. The company is Remote Africa. Yeah. So I've got like 2 offers like that where people are headhunting me. It's not me applying for jobs now on LinkedIn. Wow. They're sending me messages. Can you send your CV and all of that? So yes, I feel like, yes, I didn't tick that vision on my board for this 2024, but I'm on the path because I have people reaching out. It's no longer me chasing those dreams. It is like my dreams chasing me, just like you mentioned. So yes, PGA has been there was a mindset shift for myself and my husband, and I know that we just need to execute, and I'm sure that very soon you call us and say, is this the same West family that we saw earlier? Because you would see the change and all of that. So yes, that's what I have to say.
Wow. So I'm so encouraged. Honestly, I've been reading testimonials. Somebody dropped a testimonial on the other PGA group just before the meeting. I said, please don't make me cry because I'm preparing for a meeting tonight. I cannot come and cry because of that. When I read that particular comment, I almost cried actually, because I know where the person is coming from. And he's on this call actually. He's on this call. Mr. George, right? He's on the call this night. Maybe I'm going to let you say a few things, but somebody's hand is up. Mr. George, I think you just say 1 or 2 words, and probably if I can screenshot that your notes and just show, because for me, seeing the transformation that happens is worth the entire trouble. Last year, when I had I would say the calling to do something called the PGA, because it was not, for me, it was not just like a business. It was a leading. I'm like, do this thing. God just told me, people need this thing. I have helped you through this problem. Yeah, Victoria is going to speak now. And help other people go through the same journey I've taken you on. I was also feeling, do I have the time? If you know me, I'm already busy. Come and add PGA and coaching to my life right now was not the goal for me. It was not because I didn't have what to do. But hearing the stories, I'm like, no, let's do this over and over and over again. I'm so excited to hear. So thank you so much for sharing, Mrs. West. Victoria, yes, you raised your hand. So talking about this family budget thing.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much. For me personally, I remembered we did it first when we first got married, and we're up until to be in a mini setting program you organized, and you shared that. And one first thing I got from it is the fact that it's urged us, myself and my husband, to think out of the box. Because fine, truly, you advise we should not look at it. But when we finished everything, when we look at the deficit and all, it was just like our brain started working like, what do we need to do? What's the next thing? Okay, so it really helped us to think out of the box on what to do and how to just be more. So for me, that was the first thing. It kept us on our toes. And the second thing was, you mentioned that we shouldn't look at our income. I remember that time, the first time we did the templates, we put both of our income. I had my business running perfectly well as at then. But when we finished it, unfortunately, along the line, like 3 months after that, my own business went down completely. And when we're thinking we had a source of income, my husband too, financially, we just had a financial challenge, but that's not the story. The highlight of it for me is because we already put all our mind into it, we survived that year, not even because of our income, and we survived it well without me having a business and with a source of income not coming steadily. So for me, that's what. And the second time we did it also, I remember that it took us on a journey of faith. As at that time, I've not gotten back my business and I was trusting God for a job. So when we did it at the beginning of the year, I just randomly put for wife salary, I just randomly put a figure. And it was after 3 months or 4 months, we went back to check it. And fortunately or unfortunately, it was what I put in as wife salary. They decided to pay me. I was telling my husband, why didn't I put more? Why did I put this kind of figure? I should have just added more. So for me, it's more of a journey of faith, and it sets the mind in the right path for you to just be more and be better. Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm so happy about this year. This year already, 2025.
This year we are working on water. No fear.
Yes.
That immediately of let's just set a figure. You see, this thing is the way it works. Like Abraham have said, the reason why we called it personal budget / financial statement of faith is because we are people of faith. So beyond just the psychology of it, we've seen this thing work. I remember one of the years that I told myself, no, the current income I earn, my monthly recurrent income needs to change. And I put a figure on our budget that year, that this is how much I want to earn. That year, not much happened. Would you believe that by the last quarter of the year, I got an email out of the blues saying, David, we need somebody to do this for us. We need somebody to do this for us. A remote offer. Can you do it from your house? Can you do this for us? And they said, okay, so we discuss salary. And because I had an amount I had put for the year, I simply looked at the deficit. This is how much I'm earning. This is how much I said I want to start earning before the end of the year as my monthly income. I simply mentioned the deficit and said, this is how much I want to earn. Guess what? They paid. And I remember my first salary, my first income came on the 16th of December of that year, meaning 2 weeks to the end of that year was when I hit that goal. And I was just like, that's what this thing they work. It was just like unbelievable. The entire conversation began in like November, but by the end of the year, in fact, that particular month, they paid me for half month, but the offer came before the year ended for the exact amount I put. So it's like I don't know. If there's a jazz, guys, I've shared the jazz with you. So if not jazz the thing they work, go and try the jazz for yourself and just see how it needs to work. There's a lot I talked about, the people you are in circle of, the things you hear, the things you see. Those of you who are joining me on this journey next year, in this coming year, we will talk about those things in detail. For those of you who know that you need to retake this journey, because some of you have done the PGA, you have gone through it, and you are afraid, and you are like, well, I know a lot of things happen, but I've not yet hit that goal. Like I said on the last day we did the other meeting, it's like you had a deep valley, and we spent the year filling this valley with the PGA. So now the valley is full. You need to hear those things over and over again so that they can start taking action. Some of you need to repeat the PGA. And I think the offer I had made is that anybody who wants to take PGA again can take the PGA at half the price that is being taken. So if you've taken the PGA before and you want to take it a second time, because there are things that you don't get it by hearing once. You don't learn it only once. To hear it again and again. Some people have done the PGA and you need to go to the exponential growth. You've birthed something, you've launched something. So the next level of that is exponential growth. And for those who are in the PGA and are coming to exponential growth, if you want to come in, talk to me. I have a special offer for you, which I'm not going to share in public, but I would do that. But two people need to talk. Is George still on the call? Mfreke George, I need you to just say something. You share that note. And then
Good evening, sir.
Yes, Mr. George, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Okay. Good evening, sir. Good evening, all. I really do not have much to say, but I want to thank God first for coming in contact with Pastor David. Pastor David is a friend, he's a brother. But beyond that understanding, there's something that really got me attracted to him. I think the last physical meeting we had was in Port Harcourt, where we had a meeting in our circle, and he was there. I approached him and I told him some things, and that this is what is in my heart. He just spoke to me casually, and when he left back to you, I called him again. I said, "This is a vision I'm having." He supported me with that vision, and the man was 30,000. He gave me 30,000. But when I connected the 30,000, something was ringing in my heart. I said that there's something I'm feeling coming out from this guy that is beyond cash. I need to catch up with. I didn't know how to go about it. Then suddenly, January this year, he advertised a training, PGA. I didn't have a dime on me. And that same day when I saw that notice, that evening, somebody sent me 5,000 naira. 5,000. And I called him. I was calling him. He wasn't picking the call. And later he picked, and he told me that he was in the church. So what is the challenge? I said, I am willing to come over. I'm willing to subscribe to this course, but I don't have the money required. That money is too scary, but I'm ready to take it. And one thing he told me, he said, "Brother George, just make a sacrifice." I forwarded the money. Immediately I forwarded the money. And he told me, "Congratulations, you've broken the limit." And they gave me access to the course. I started going through the course, taking the trainings, following up. Sometimes I wasn't consistent, maybe because of data and all of that. But I think around April or so of this year, a big offer came for me. And that happened that I started, even as I'm talking to you now, I'm currently on the offshore platform. The thing came like magic. It came like magic. And I keep following the code. So a lot of things were just opening up. Before you know it, things started coming up. I called him one time like that. I said, "This is what I'm perceiving. This is what I'm feeling." He said, "Go ahead. Go ahead." But I told him, I'm a missionary. Some people will start saying that I'm deviated. Maybe I'm no more in the faith. I don't love God again. What do you have to say about this? And he was just laughing. He said, "Hey, it has happened like that to him, that I should face my vision." To God's glory today, I got my first company registered fully in the marine work right now. I don't know. I can't explain how it happened. I got the second company registered, and we have hectares of land. I think the last plot I bought, the company bought in Cross River State, is about 29.8 hectares of land, which we have surveyed, and we've planted a lot of palm trees there. And there's one that we have started harvesting. We've moved ahead, had another farm in Benue State. We move ahead, had another farm in Cross River State that we're nursing cocoa right now. There's another one that we've started picking. So the thing just started coming, miraculously like that. And the company started signing up with other foreign companies that we supply, healthcare products, healthcare services and healthcare products that will become major distributors. And I'm still a missionary. So I sat back this evening. I was like, how will I pay him back? Just to say thank you. And I didn't inform you that I'm going to write a note and drop on the platform. So I really want to use this opportunity to say, David, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My eyes have opened and several other opportunities are coming. People are calling from left, right, and center. I just joined the marine. But if you see me in the marriage, to look as if I've worked there for like many years. This company will just come, place of my services. Another one will call. We've had what you did in the other company. Please, can you just? I just decided like that. I just finished a crusade. I was on time off, and they were calling. Another company was calling me. Please, can you come and do what you did in the other company for me? And because of that, I had to take another course. I took one foreign course that I was paying in dollars in operation management, and that gave me an edge. As I finished that course, I just sent out my papers. About 2 companies were just calling. I'm just making decisions now. The one I choose to go and the one I don't want to go. So I'm really grateful for PGA, and I'm trying to go in due time. I think let it be like also my sponsorship. I think it might not be now, but I would like to sponsor at least 2 or 3 persons that will be willing to take this course very shortly, and I will discuss that with Pastor David. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, wow. I'm so excited to hear this. I mean, I'm so excited. You know, for me, you know, the happiest part for me when you said you just finished the crusade and then you are offshore. You know, there's something that needs to change in our mind. Some of us have really boxed ourselves into a religious box, but today is not the day for that conversation. I'm glad that at least somebody is. Now, you said something. You said you don't even know what happened. Me, I know what happened. Suddenly, your mind was opening. You were now imagining new possibilities. Before now, even when you see the opportunity, you were not able to recognize the opportunity because your mind was not open for it. But with the things you were hearing, your worldview began to change, your mind began to change, and you were able to recognize opportunities. And you know, remember that quote you shared? If any man advances confidently in the direction of his dreams, he would, I mean, and aspires to live the life he has imagined. Don't worry, the PGA will know the quote. Those who are coming in will know that quote. It is something that when you begin to walk in the direction of your dreams, you now conceive what is possible. Remember I said, conceive, accept, execute. Many people can't even conceive what is possible. Forget execution. To walk on water, you must first be able to conceive. I remember when you sent me that message that, these people, but you need to register a company. I said, register the company. That you've conceived it, register it. Today, I'm now hearing that the company is, I mean, it's amazing to hear this thing. It's just a joy for me to hear these stories. Some of you probably have reached the point of accepting, but you have not tried anything. So you are thinking this thing is not working. Please go out and do. Remember I said, we judge ourselves by what we feel capable of doing. The world judges us by what we do. You never know what is possible until you step your feet into the water. You think you will sink. Climb the water. You will realize that you have the power to walk on water. It is there. Peter walked on water. I mean, just if you never leave the boat, you will never know what is possible. If your hands were up, so if he's going to speak and then we begin to round off for tonight. If again, I need to hear you. I need to give you a chance to speak. You raise your hand for a while. So please, Ife, you can unmute yourself.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I believe you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
All right. Just very brief. I wanted to make a comment on the family budget sheet that was shared at the same time last year in the last, I think that was reset 2024. So it just, I'm not a family person. I'm just a young guy, and I implemented most of those things that were taught. And, you know, 2 things that I could point out very well was that I stopped working by assumption. Immediately, I started putting those figures in my plans on the list, and because assumption is the lowest form of knowledge. So I saw really what I was spending on monthly, and I could work with facts. All right. And the second thing too is because I created room for what I needed. Okay, this is what I will be spending every month. This is what I'll be spending yearly. Resources started coming. All right. So it started coming. I was getting a lot of resources from. I saw the skills that I could, launch out. I saw the things I could do, and just trying to say that the family budget really, spoke for itself. That's the right word, and I've seen growth by God's grace throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ife. I mean, I've seen growth too. I mean, I've seen Ife, I've seen the transformation, I've seen the transition. The truth is, these things work. If you have not tried them, you will just think that There is no how to these things. Remember, one of the scriptures we talk about, the labor of fools weary them, for they don't know how to get into the city. You can be wishing for something, you can be struggling for something. When you don't understand the how for it, you will just not know how this works. Yet you see people doing it. So someone asked, what is the PGA? So maybe those who just like join this particular workshop independent, because everybody else is either in one of the programs, but for those who just join, the PGA is called Personal Growth Accelerator. It's a coaching program which I run for people who, you just know that there's more to life than what the life you're currently living. You know that there's another level you need to unlock. There's something in your mind that you need to birth that you've not been able to birth. There's something, you know that this is not the level you want to live. And you need to grow on all sides and unlock a different version of yourself. That's why the PGA was designed. It's something I went through myself. When I mean I went through, I didn't have a PGA to go through. I had to bootstrap here and there because I just knew that I need to unlock a new level of life. I went for all kinds of courses, all kinds of training, and I figured out a framework and a pathway for that transformation. And so I put it together into a program, and I'm now helping people to do it faster than it took me, shorter than it took me, and with even more clarity and more precision. That's why I'm excited hearing the stories that it's actually working. We've taken the feedback from this last year, improved on it. The next one starts in January. Some people have joined. Admissions are still open, just that the discounts are reducing. The final discount closes tonight, so that from tomorrow till the end of the year, it's regular price everybody's going to pay. But some of you know people who need the PGA in their life. The sad part is that if you tell somebody you need a program like this, they won't believe it. They won't argue. No, I'm fine. It takes something for someone to know until somebody gets to a point where he says, I need this help. That's when we are able to actually get them into the program. Those who did the PG and who have actually built and started or launched something, those who have built new businesses, you've launched a new company, you've started a new product, they are the reasons we now created a second level. It's called exponential growth. Exponential growth is for those who are actually already running something. It's no longer an idea in your mind. You have what you are doing has already been created. You have a business, you have a product, you have a service. How do you take an idea or a product from small idea in one corner of the world and take it global? This is a journey that I am personally on, and I have started going on. Exponential growth, the difference, we talked about linear growth, exponential growth. Linear growth, you're taking one step at a time. Exponential growth, you're taking geometric progression. How do you go from 1 to 30? I mean, how do you take those kind of steps? We have already created a framework for that too. And so those in the EG for this year, we're going to be working together. How do we take our business organizations global? So for those who are asking those questions, that is basically what we're doing. And then there's level up. Level up for those who are just coming in. You're like, okay, I know I need to do some mind shifts, but I'm not yet ready for the PGA, or maybe the PGA. Let me fill all of the boxes. Let me fill all of this. Let me put myself in the right frame of mind so that I don't have to do PGA twice. Some people, the entire first PGA was landfilling. We're getting your mind in the right framework for growth. It is the repeat PGA that will help you to start growing actually. So for those who are not yet ready for that growth, Level Up is a shorter program, but it helps you address some of those concepts so that when we start the PGA, it becomes easy to grow. That's what we're doing in those programs. But this is basically for those who are going to be watching the replay actually. Everybody in the program, you know much of on this call, you know all about this. So 2 things I've given to you. 1 is an assignment. You know what to do. What are the 3 things I will do if I'm not afraid? Who do I need to become to be able to do those things? 2nd is take out time. This year still has about 4 days or to go. Yeah, 3 or 4 days to go. Go do a budget. If you're a spouse on this call, sit down with your husband, sit down with your wife, do that family budget. I guarantee you it's going to change your life. All right. Did anybody have a question that you wanted me to answer on this call? We have 10 minutes to make it 3 hours on this call. I didn't even know we we're going to spend this long, but I'm glad that you stayed. And I'm excited that I spent this 3 hours. But yeah, any question, particular question about anything I talked about today, or something, a burning question in your mind that I didn't address and you're thinking, yeah, I'm trying to set goals for the coming year, but I have this question, I have this confusion. You can raise your hand or you can put the question in the chat box. If there's no question, I'll be excited to let you go and start running and start getting your things going, getting your plans going. For those in any of the programs, you have any question, you know where to ask on the group, just your questions on the group, and I will be glad to answer them. So thank you so much for your time today. And I really want to see people working on water next year. In case you are thinking that me, I'm an expert in this, I'm just giving you this, everything I'm telling you applies to me too. The goals I'm setting for next year, me, myself, they are scaring me. I had a team meeting yesterday with some of members of my team. The things we're talking about, all of us, in fact, when somebody on the call says these things are actually even scary, we that are trying to do it is scaring us. Talk less of, but that's the whole idea. If the goal does not stretch you, it's not big enough. If the dream does not force you to become a new person, you're not dreaming small. If you forget everything I've said, you can't be growing and be comfortable. You either take the pain of growth or you take the pain of stagnation. Choose your pain, but any which way, pain go day. So looking forward to seeing you on this journey in 2025, doing crazy things, doing mind-blowing things, doing audacious things, walking on water and defying gravity, defying the odds, and going impossible places. Thank you so much, guys. And I look forward to seeing you in the coming